go. All right. I think. Are we live here, chat? Let's see. Let's see the chat
See if I
reaction.
get a notification.
Yeah, we're live.
All right, yeah, just went
Okay.
live for me.
All right. It's crazy how the lag is, right? Between me going live
Yeah,
and waiting. It's like a minute.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? All right. All
yeah.
right. All right. Welcome, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers. Your only friend, these YouTube streets. Porter Rock 77, and we are live with episode 322 of 60 Frames No Lag podcast, where we discuss PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, PC, console wars, fanboy wars, everything in gaming, gaming news, gaming rumors, gaming trash talking, everything. That's what we do here, right? And we keep it real, at a solid 60 frames, no lag, with VRR, ray tracing, advanced ray tracing, stuff that you can stuff you can't get on Xbox. You know what I'm saying? The best
hmm
version. This channel is the best version of your favorite Xbox news.
Yeah.
I just playing.
Hey, Puerto Rock,
Oh, what's
Puerto
up?
Rock, we have ascended, my brother.
What's
Yeah,
up?
we're native
It's
now.
it's it's 8K 60, no lag,
Oh
brother.
man! Oh man!
Baby.
Oh no! Oh man! With advanced ray tracing. Oh man!
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
Mm.
Oh man, we got the Porter Rock, we got the Porter Rock spectral resolution over here and
hmm
stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we do it here.
We
That's
got
how we
the
do it here.
PRRR.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Porter,
mm
oh, man, it's good, fellas, man. How you fellas
Yeah.
been doing, man? How's everything going?
Great, man. Great. No, I can't complain, man. Just been traveling. Um, dealing with a renovation and a bunch of other stuff, man. Just staying busy. Then
Okay.
the console war died out. You know what I'm saying? So now I got to find a new grift. You know what I'm saying? Grifting J Dub.
Oh, that's Tad,
You know
the
what I'm saying?
Nintendo boy, Nintendo fanboys coming out to
Yeah. So I've
work.
been
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
exactly. So I've been trying to stump Nintendo dudes out. You know what I'm saying? They getting big for their britches. Talking about
Yeah.
OK 60. That's my territory, Puerto Rock. You can't hijack
Mm,
my territory.
mm. They're trying to
Not
take
with
They're
your
them
trying to
20.
thing.
grift.
Not with them 23 frames on Cyberpunk. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh man, say it ain't so.
hmm
Say it ain't so.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
you may see me out there defending Xbox against these Nintendo dudes every now and then. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
hmm
That's
There's only
something.
one
That's
worthy opponent. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I'll give it to Xbox. You know what I'm saying?
Mm, mm, All right. All right. It's good to. Hey, Craig, man, what's going on? How you been?
I'm doing all right. Can't complain. Getting ready for Hump Day, and yeah, I've been playing a college football game. I jumped back onto it. I got to get back into Stellar Blade, and of course Assassin's Creed Shadows. My goodness gracious, just you know, second biggest selling game of the year. Like I said, when you go woke, you get rich, and that's what that game did. And I thought it got a bad rep. I've told people this. When you play that game, the uh, uh, Yasue is already a samurai. His journey is finished. He's become a samurai.
Yeah.
The young lady, it's always been about her. She's the one who creates the hidden ones in Japan. She's the one who gets the outfit. It just so happens to match her body perfectly. She gets the assassin's outfit. But
Yeah.
I enjoy it because when you're using her, you just can't stand in there and fight like with Cassandra from Odyssey. This girl is only like 5'6", and she relies on stealth. So throwing things from the bushes and assassins. So I mean, you're out there assassinating people left and right. So, but really good game, really fun game. Certainly hope it gets its due, and I do think that young lady should get nominated for a voice acting award. Just the lot of lot of weight to what's going on with her. So hopefully they reward. But nah, doing well. Shout out to you. Shout out to the chat. And yeah, I got some good topics here. A shout out to this week in television. We got The Last of Us. We got Daredevil season finale. We got another Last of Us next week. You got Andor starting 2 weeks from now. We got the Thunderbolts hitting the theater. So we eating good over here. We have a lot to talk about here in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. And we got the brain up in here. What's going on, my brother?
Man, I'm good, man. You know what? How last week I said, more money, more problems. To partially quote Craig, I got ready, and that's the only quote that's the only thing I'm gonna take from Craig as far as getting ready. I put some money to the side for Uncle Sam to pay my tax bill, but since I did that, since I did that, I said, F it. I might as well, enjoy some of my own money, and I wound up pulling the trigger with getting Assassin's Creed Shadows, but I just ordered that today, so so I'm really looking forward to that.
All right. Okay. All right. And of course we got Extreme, my brother from down under.
Yo. I just came at the right time, did I?
Yeah, absolutely.
As usual, brother.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
What is going on?
I'm doing good, thank you. No, it's pretty good here. It's we're getting into the autumn months, so getting a little bit cooler.
So you're about to get your winter on.
Yeah, but you winterize,
Oh,
but
that is insane.
Yeah. Aside from that, things are pretty good. What's everybody been discussing on?
Okay, no, we're just doing our intros right now.
Just started.
Okay, no problem. No
We
problem.
just started. So you came at a good time. You came at a good time, right? In
Yes,
fact,
sir.
Excellent.
In fact, I just want to give a shout out to the chat. Thank you so much for rocking with the channel. It's great to be back. Doing content for you guys. We got a great topics today. But before we get started, if you don't mind, please hit the like button. Share this out, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe for more content. And we're gonna go roll right into it, and we're gonna start with the first topic: PlayStation 5 console hike. Let me put this on the screen real quick. Of course, we got Wario64. Shout out to him. Says PS5 price to rise in Europe, Australia, New Zealand. Let me open up the link. Let's see what PlayStation has to say. Of course, they got the marathon background right there, right? April 13th. PS5 price to rise in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand, right? So my man, Extreme, he's impacted. Should have gotten the Pro. You got the Pro yet, dog? Man, you need to get that.
First
Pro,
of all,
dog.
I do not. But second of all, the Pro is not affected.
Okay, it's not okay. Oh, good. Woo!
Yeah.
In before the lock. It says right here, with a backdrop of a challenging economic environment, including high inflation and fluctuating exchange rates, SIE has made the tough decision to raise the recommended retail price of the PlayStation 5 console in select markets in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. The updated PS5 recommended retail price are effective starting yesterday, April 14th, and is as follows. Europe. The PS5 Digital Edition is €499, 500 euro. No pricing changes for the standard PS5 with Ultra HD Blu-ray disc. Interesting. So the one with the disc stays the same. It's the Digital Edition, all right? In the UK, Digital Edition goes up to £429. Once again, no change for the disc edition. In Australia, the standard PS5 with the disc is now $829. You used the term dollars for Australian dollars?
That's right.
Okay, so $829. And the PS5 digital
But it's 830.
is $830. Okay, $830 and $750 for the digital. Wow. Oh man. And then New Zealand, it's the New Zealand dollar. The disc goes up to 949 New Zealand dollars, and the digital edition 859 New Zealand dollars. PS5 Pro suggested prices remain unchanged. Additionally, the disc drive for the PS5 will be getting a retail decrease effective April 14th as follows. So in Europe, it drops down to €80. In the UK, £70. In Australia, goes down to 125 Australian dollars, and in New Zealand, goes down to 140 New Zealand dollars. Select markets in the EMEA not listed above may also receive RP increase. Please check with your local retailer. So, yeah, okay, all right, fine, okay. So, I think last week, Extreme, and I was looking into this, right, and I seen Zuhei, he's on Twitter, he talks about market, and I think you touched on this, is the impact that United States have on the world, right? And you brought in the conversation, and what Extreme mentioned last week was to prevent increase or drastic increase in the U.S. market. Some regions in the world has to pay the price with minute increases across all countries to make up the difference. And I'm thinking, man, that's crazy. That's some messed up shit, right? Like the combination of Europe, Australia, Asian markets have to go through a small increase in order to prevent a drastic increase in the US market, right? And I'm like, man, that's crazy. I'm like, that's some bullshit. You talk about the world hates us enough. Now you added more shit. Like, I was like, holy shit. And then like I was looking into it, I'm like, yo, why is this like that? And come to find out, right? In many products, the United States is the de facto consumer, period.
Yeah.
By a lot. I didn't realize how much. Like you would need continents combined to match us as a country. I'm like, holy shit, like we are buying this much stuff? Like stuff. Like a lot of stuff. Like goblin. Like who's buying? Like we're broke. Who's buying all this shit? Like, yo, it's insane how much consumerism is like in this country.
Think about it, Puerto Rock. It makes perfect sense. United States don't really produce anything. Our biggest export is weapons, right? Yeah. And so if that's our biggest export, we're not really producing like the rest of the world. But that means we're buying, and because we're one of the richest nations out there, we get to buy up everything.
That's not a lie.
And produce very little.
Motherfuckers,
but the rest of the world produce. But it's a lot of times it's at our expense, but that's how it is. That's a lot of. Think about it, Puerto Rico. We get to sit here week after week and talk about things that we're buying. Think about that. We have a podcast right now that's dedicated to us sitting around talking about buying stuff. It's not producing anything; it's buying, right? Because we're gamers and we buy everything. We buy all this shit, right? And unless, and you've traveled the world, but unless people have traveled the world and been to other places, they don't really think about that day to day, because we live in America where it's, hey, you get
most
your
of the world
just go buy stuff.
Most of the world is poor. That's something Howard Stern said a decade ago. He was like, he doesn't understand why people go out of the country because most of the world is poor. So even though there's real pretty places, but when you go into the cities and things like that, it's poor. A friend of mine lives in Vietnam, and he's like, yeah, it's real. They're poor. They're not just like poor people. They're not terrible people. They just don't have a lot of what. Yeah, I mean,
they don't have the opportunity to buy a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
they don't buy what they need.
Yeah,
that's what they need. They have each other. That's all they needed. But
everybody on this panel right now has an Xbox, a PlayStation, or a PlayStation Pro, a Switch.
Whoa. Xbox, you went too far, dog. You went too far. That's you, dog.
Well, that's true, but I'm trying to. True, but I added Xbox for a dramatic effect,
I mean,
but,
fuck. I bought me.
We all own everything. We all own PC.
I bought me a rechargeable air blower. Just so I can
clean.
Oh, man. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here. I bought this. My wife wanted, and so when we went in New York, my sister-in-law had a desk phone holder. All it is you just put it on this, you put your phone on, so that way you don't hold it with your hands. My wife's like, I want one. I'm like, man, you can't hold this shit with your own hands. She's like, no, I want that. I don't want to keep holding the phone in my hand. So I had to buy that. So I bought so I'm like, all right, so I bought a phone holder. All right, cool. I bought a PlayStation Portal carrying case. All right.
See?
So you know what? just buying shit.
Yep.
Just like
We're the number one consumers. And to think about it, to put it another way to put it in perspective, our poor people here in America live better than any poor people on the planet in other nations. Our poor people, think about it. They have shelter, clothing, food, TVs, cell phones, probably a PlayStation or something like that. And their needs are taken care of.
Yeah.
Now, all around the world, any other nation around the world, when they say they're poor, these people haven't eaten in a week. They're living on the street. They have no clothes. I mean, there's literally nothing for them, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes, when you live in America, you live in a bubble and you don't realize that.
That's not a lie. Like when you see one example, like projects in America, like for us, the projects is the low income housing, it's terrible, whatever. But when you see projects outside of America, bro, that's
real shanty towns. You know what I'm saying? Real shanty towns.
That's real projects.
Living in tin cans, mud huts and stuff. That's different.
Projects is different.
It's projects is some apartments.
America,
you know what I'm saying?
It's like it's a whole new we can't even talk. Like our projects is probably like average homes for it's crazy. So there's a different, now some areas obviously has high standards of living, right? In some countries, small countries and stuff like that, that's, so it's not like a zero sum for all across the board. But man, you're right, man. And I think it's the combination of the size of the country, right? We're over 300 million people. Plus, like one of the highest GDPs all at the same time. It just opens the door for consumerism to a huge extent. So I didn't realize how influential like this whole thing is. I'm like, man, this is insane, right? So let me ask you this. This is what I asked the panel, right? So price increase, right? Normally we're used to generations where the price drops, right? And as time goes on, the console's older, parts to build is cheaper, and now it's more about the consumer that's willing to buy consoles at $300, $250, stuff like that, right? With Sony deciding saying, hey, we can't make the console cheaper. In fact, we have to raise the price in certain regions to maintain profitability or whatever metric they're trying to maintain. My first question is to the panel is, how would this impact market share growth for the brand, right? Because again, buying a console that was made 5 years ago and now it's more expensive, what does that say about people being like, you know what? The console got more expensive? Yeah, I'm just going to have to skip it. I just can't get this. So now you got this market that's like, normally I buy consoles 5-6 years into the gen because normally it's a little bit cheaper around my price point, right? That's why they wait. But now you waited, you technically got screwed over waiting. So I'll start with Extreme, right? What do you think about that? Like what does this spell in terms of the increased market share?
Thank you. As a person that's actually directly affected,
that's why I put you, because like this is your country, right? You're gonna have a lot less ponies in your country. They might take up breakdancing.
Oh man!
Listen, hey! Before you start, be careful with your joke because we just had a shooting today in Dallas.
Wait, what?
Yes. Yeah. So be careful with your joke.
Fine.
You might get.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just warning. I have to warn you because that might be not the time right now. Don't do it right now. Yes. Yo, thoughts and prayers to Dallas. It happened in Dallas, right? Right, J-Dub? It was in Dallas.
Yep.
So thoughts and prayers to the families of Dallas. I had to stop Extreme because he doesn't know American news, so I had to warn him.
Hey, listen. You know what?
Not the day today.
It's fine.
Not
the day.
Wait a month. Wait 30 days. Give it up.
One day we'll talk about it.
A first semester pause. Not a full pregnant pause, but the first trimester pause. Give it a trimester pause.
You know what? It's America. We'll give you 9 days.
Shit. There you go.
Listen. Okay. First of all, you guys are the wealthiest nation in the world. Not one of the wealthiest. You are the wealthiest, not by GDP per capita, but I think that's just breaking things down. Like economists like doing that thing where they're like, oh, but per person, Luxembourg is wealthiest. I shut the fuck up. Nobody even knows about Luxembourg, right? Yeah. So the thing is that you are the wealthiest, and also you said they would take continents to kind of make up for the amount of consumption that you take. Yeah, because you guys are a continent. Like by any right measure, you guys have a continent of your own. I know that you're not a separated landmass from Canada or anything, but you
But
guys
the
are the size
size,
of the
yes,
continent, you know?
it's pretty
Like you guys
much the
are
same.
almost half of Africa, you know? And
Yeah.
Africa is so
Which is
large.
insane.
It's crazy.
And that's
Yeah,
insane to say
Yeah.
that. One
yeah,
country is half the size of a continent. Like
Mhm.
half.
exactly. You
That's
know?
insane.
Yeah. So it's huge, you know. The only one that really rivals you are the Russias and the Chinas, you know, in terms of like the sheer size of it. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely that. And then the third thing is that consumerism is in your culture in a way that it's not in everywhere else. Like you guys consume as a matter of identity, you know,
That's true.
and
That's
that
true.
is different
Yes.
from almost everybody else, which obviously American companies have mastered, you know, marketing and everything like that, giving you that FOMO, you know, that desire
Hmm.
for something that you may not have wanted 5 minutes ago. So
Yep.
I think they are definitely trying to convert and export that kind of, you know, need to consume all over the world, you know, and you see the Asian brands like Timu and Shein and these other low rent, low quality things try to export that as well because, you know, China is definitely looking for other places because, you know, you've always been political rivals. You are so tied together at the hip, but it's like you're like two big parents that are super wealthy and have built their wealth up together, and now you want to divorce, but nobody can agree on how to split the assets. So you have to
Yep.
live in the same house, but you're fighting all of the time. And then the rest of the world are just the kids, just like you know, suffering the psychological abuse of living in this dysfunctional household. But yeah, listen, I said the same thing last week. I told you that if Apple was in a situation where they have to deal with these tariffs and these levies on their products, yeah, the rest of the world is going to pay the price because they're not going to be like, oh yeah, we're just going to eat all of this cost.
Yeah.
And they could not possibly pass on 100% of the cost to the just
On
the
an American
American
consumer.
consumer, you know. So they are going to, and that's exactly what happened. You know, when
Yeah, that was the
there
example you
was a
gave last week, the iPhone. And I'm
yeah,
like,
Yep.
wow.
yeah, and that's exactly what happened. You know, just like a few days later, you know, there was a person last week who told me that I only gave half of the story, and I'm like, look, tariffs, I could talk about them for hours, but you know, we only have so much time. But yeah, I was right. Of course, I was right because you know, that's just the way the world works. So, will it affect the generation? I hope that it does in one way. I hope that they extend this generation.
Mhm.
Because if you buy this shit now at $850, basically 5 years in, let's say that
You
you
want to
wait
play for a while.
until September or whatever, and then you pay for 2 years, and then they are like, hey, give us another 800 or so Australian dollars in order to get to the next version, you're gonna be pissed.
No, gamers
You
gonna be
know?
like, fuck
Yep.
no. They're like, they're staying on
Exactly.
Yep.
that PS5 for like 9 years. They're like, they're
Exactly.
not
You
buying
know?
another console
So
in
yeah,
2 years.
I think
They're
that
gonna be like,
it should
fuck no. Yes, every
the
gamer's
wind
gonna be
up
like
is
that.
crazy on that one.
Yo, they're gonna be like, they're gonna wind up. They're like, hell no, they're not gonna do it.
No.
They're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
They'll be like,
Yeah,
You
not
fuck
gonna
know,
do it.
no.
Aaron in the chat asked before if I'm okay with the raises. No, I'm not. I blame America. Like fuck no. Like the fuck, this wasn't our fault.
This is an
What the fuck?
opportunity for
I didn't vote for this person.
this is an opportunity for Extreme to talk shit. What do you mean he's
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
Hell
I'm just like,
no.
what the fuck? What do you think? Like, I know why this is going up, and it has nothing to do with anything but Trump. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, I'm not fucking happy about this, you know. But I know that this is what's going to keep happening because he keeps playing chicken with these tariffs, you know, and
For
everything.
no reason.
Yeah.
No, next week though, you know, like no, like you know, money doesn't like insecurity. You know, it doesn't like
Mhm.
uncertainty. You know,
Yeah.
so it's like, yeah, we all have to pay the price because I bet you they're doing this just in case it goes ahead, you know. Now, the companies traditionally fix things after they've kind of gone up? Usually no. So, you know, it's kind of a permanent loss for us. So no, I'm not fucking happy about it. But like I said, I already said that this generation should have gone 10 years anyway, without the price increases long before that. I got the PS5 and I remember like after a year, I was like, you know what? I think this is the one to stretch this out. This is the generation to stretch this out. Then they came out with the PSVR 2. Then they came out with the PS5 Pro. Then they came out with the Portal. They really front loaded this generation. And then we've seen the effects of COVID, you know, in terms of the games not matching the pace of the hardware, right? Like if you think about it, it's been very lopsided in that regard that a lot of hardware has come out, but the games it seems to be more like a trickle, you know?
Mhm.
So it really did feel like, yeah, this generation should have been extended anyway. Now I think it's basically anti-consumer and to not extend it. I think it's neglectful. I think it's negligent to not extend the generation at least 10 years because the person that buys it now should be able to enjoy this generation without any further call upon their wallet for at least 5 years because you just increased it. Like it's a reset to me. Like a person that buys it now, it's like, God damn, I don't care if it was like 5 years ago. Like Jesus Christ, you just increased the price.
That's what it
Like
feels
at
like now. Like you
850.
reset this. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a reset, So for me, I'm like, no, you shouldn't just release a product for 2 or 3 years and then be like, yeah, okay, time to re-up again. And once again, you're going to be hitting, like I think that in the United States, the digital version of the PS6 will be $500. I think that is a reasonable price. Um, but that does mean that Australian wise, that is converted to at least 800 or so dollars. And that will not include the disk drive, which as you can see is like 150 or so over here. So you're basically asking another $1,000 in just 3 years' time for a person that just paid $850. Nah, I don't
But
think that is smart.
do you think they could sell a PS6 for $500 given the main components and everything's going up just for the base models that we have
Yeah,
now?
I think they're just going to have to. I think they're just going to have to eat that cost.
Oh
I think that
shit.
one of the things. So another reason that they're going to have to extend the generation is to get out of this Trump
Yeah,
era.
that's what I
Like,
think. I think they.
like
Yeah, I
again,
think
you
the
don't want to
2020.
come out
Yeah.
in 2028 because whoever is
Like
coming in
Nintendo,
28 is not going to
like
have enough
Nintendo,
time.
right?
Nintendo's screwed.
What a
Yeah,
horrible time for Nintendo to come out with it.
Yeah.
I think it's
Because
a horrible time for everybody. It's a horrible time for
it's for
everyone in
everyone
every
across the board.
sector, for consumers, for companies, for everybody. Uncertainty does not make good business. So I think that again, you are looking at a situation where this generation should be extended. It makes a lot of business sense. It makes sense for them. It's not even a nice thing to do. Like, get away from this Trump era, give the next administration, Republican or Democrat, whatever it is, at least 2 years to fix this shit, so that you can actually know what your pricing is going to be, so that you can actually try to start to get your supply chains in order again, so that China and the US can stop bickering like, what is it?
Like the two
Abused
parents.
couples or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Like just give this whole thing a wide berth and go further if you need to. Because listen, no one's going to buy a PlayStation because people say it's going to be $600. No one's buying a PlayStation 6 digital at 600. They might buy a physical edition at 600, like sure, okay, $100 extra for the disk
Disk
drive or
drive.
whatever. In any case, that's a minority of people now, anyways, right? Like most people in the US, I think 80% digital anyway. So it's like, yeah, but you've got to have $500 or less on the basic entry version, and they're not going to do a Series S, alternative. So for me, I say just keep extending the gen until you can get to that price tag, because otherwise, no. So going back again to your original question, if they do extend the price tag, sorry, the lifespan of this generation, then I think that they can pick up, like they can sell as much as the PS4 because they will have the extra runway.
Longer.
But if they don't, then yeah, this is going to be like, I'm not sure if you're going to touch a 100 million, and this will be like the first time since the PS3, I suppose, that they haven't touched that because yeah. So no, they have a lot of things to work out. But for me, I'm like, time is your friend in this case. I do not see why you would try to, deal
Rush
with
it.
Trump, because if he's just going to, one day in the middle, like he could drop all of these tariff things, right? Leave it alone for 2 years, and then his final year of office is like, right, now is the time. And we can see that there's no due process, there's no heads up, there's nothing.
He
If I
just does
was
it
a
on a whim.
businessman, yeah, I would be like, I'm not, unless I'm locked into a yearly hardware release like Apple is,
Yeah.
I'm not launching any new products. Like, why would I do that? There's no rule written in the universe that says that, oh, a generation has to last 8 years or less. There's no such thing.
No.
Extend it as far as you can. It's better for your consumers, it's better for you, and it will give you the chance to actually try to make back the money, and to also actually deliver for your studios as well, that they don't have to, you know, Like they can actually get 2 or 3 games out this generation rather than 1.5, whatever it is.
Okay. All right. Hey, Jada, what do you think about this? With the price increase, the impact it will have on the future growth for the PlayStation brand. Now that, because people who don't buy the console, the first 5 years is because they're waiting for price drops and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Because if they were willing to pay $500, they would have just bought it already, right? So
Yeah,
what do you think
that's
about that? And what do you think about the impact of the next generation, like Sony's next generation plans?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I think it will stifle, for example, if the price were to go down to $300, right? They would definitely do, I believe, 140, 150 million sales. That's just me, right? Given the time frame that they can extend this thing out to. But if they can't get that price dropped, I think they'll end up right around 120, right where they were last generation. They're already at, they were at 75 last year, right? At the end of last year. They're probably at call it 85, right? 85, probably pushing closer to 90. GTA is going to probably take it to 110, right? You're going to get 10 million extra sales just off of GTA alone with those fence sitters. The people who just generally play Madden and 2K, they don't really care about everything else. But if you want to play GTA 6, then 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to go to PlayStation to do that. So they have that on their side. They have GTA 6 on their side. They have some big games coming out in the near future that's on their side. But it's not a good thing. I was on record saying I believe PlayStation had the opportunity to sell, 100, 150 million consoles, maybe 160, even again, only because coming out the gate, PlayStation sold so well with the shortages. And once they caught up to inventory, the system was just selling like hotcakes. Last year, they broke their previous record, right? 22 million in 1 year. Like they were on that track. And that's without putting out big, big, big blockbuster tentpole franchises.
Yeah, that's
So
true. That
imagine,
was a quote unquote 1 year.
yeah, yeah. Remember last year was supposed to be a slow year. But
Yeah.
it's like, damn, if that's a slow year, I would hate to
Mhm.
see how 2025 is going to shake out. But unbeknown to me, fucking Mr. Tariff Man was going to come and everything else was going to change the situation. And it did this. The global market is very finicky. And like M say, speculation and just things like that will change things. This is a horrible time to launch a console. It's a horrible time to be selling a console. But they're gonna have to stick with it. Some of these companies are just gonna have to take a loss. They're gonna have to just wing it. I can't see them. You're already asking $500, and I'm just throwing that number out there. Right now, you can
Yeah.
get a PS5 for like, at least here in the States, for like $399, $350. $399 would have built it with Astrobot, right? With a full game. They can't. I don't see them bumping that back up to 500 or even going past that price under any circumstances. Then people gonna do what I would do, right? They're just gonna sit on their hands and wait. They don't have to go out and buy. They'll be like, you know what, the tariffs and stuff may got things high now, but you know what? Eventually it's gonna go back down, and people will just sit there and wait. And you
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
you
can
don't
I?
you don't want that, as a company, you don't want that. You don't want people to just sit there and say, oh wait, no, that you want them to go out and buy it now. Go ahead, Em.
I would just want to say that in a strange way, this proves to me that GTA 6 is coming this year. I think that's why they are trying to protect the American market
Mm-hmm.
because they know that when GTA 6 comes out, they do not want their console to be higher than normal. They want to
Mm-hmm.
protect that and be like, okay, we at least have to get through the GTA 6 launch, without
Mm-hmm.
increasing the price. And then maybe after that is done, depending on how things shake out, they might be like,
Yeah.
okay, now we can increase the price on the American market. But I think they will do everything that they possibly can to protect the American market this year as long as
Mm-hmm.
possible until at least GTA 6 is released.
Yeah. And if you notice too, this administration has kind of walked back some things. Now they're starting to pick and choose what companies and what industries that will have the tariff. And now it's like, okay, well, Apple, I'll allow you to do your stuff. You can import the phones without having any tariffs on it. Okay, you Nvidia, I'll allow you to. You see what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Sony is somewhere in there. They're trying to negotiate and get some of their industries. I think they just said that some of the electronics industries and stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, since we're consumerisms, right? We got to have our electronics. You can't shut your citizens off from not having electronics. If we can't have our Facebook and Instagram and all the other bullshit and TikToks, right? We'll go crazy. But I think some of that stuff is going to be backtracked. Um, I want to see how it's going to affect Nintendo in the short term. They still haven't put out a price, an American price for the Switch with the tariffs. That's why we're unable to
Oh yeah, that's what they
in
did. Like
Canada and the United States.
they did
Yeah,
like
we can't pre-order. Yeah, we can't pre-order because they don't know what price to charge it. Their initial price was the 450 and 499, but that didn't include tariffs. Nintendo
399.
executive came out and
399 and 450. Right?
no,
Or is it
no,
450? Oh, it's
four
500. It's 500.
450 and 500.
Yeah, that's
450
right.
and
That's right.
500. Yeah,
Yeah, 450,
yeah,
500. Yeah.
yeah. Listen, if it was 399, you wouldn't hear a peep out
Yeah,
of
300
most
would
of
have been
Yeah,
anybody.
fine.
yeah.
But
450
it's the
and 500.
fact
Yeah.
it's the fact that it's more expensive than a PlayStation 5 is where they kind of lost me. I'm like, no, you cannot charge more for your product than a PlayStation that has all this stuff going for it, that has the ray tracing, has all the next gen features and all kind of just in general. Then your games are $10 to $20 more expensive than no that like so. Yeah, I'm interested to see how Nintendo is going to do this. This could end up being a Wii U generation after the first initial amount of sales, or Nintendo's just going to have to take some major losses. And I'll be honest, Nintendo don't really take losses like that. They most of their hardware is all profit. It's all profit. They don't do the whole we'll take a loss thing. But they just may have to this time, at least in the the interim until things get back to normal. When will that get back to normal? I don't know. Would that be 3 years, 2 years, 1 year? I don't know. Trump could come out tomorrow and just repeal everything and just say, you know what, guys, change my mind. Everything is going back to how it was before. You don't know. So, but I think if I'm PlayStation, this is a perfect time to stay the course, stay the same price. Don't bump your games up to 80 and 90 fucking dollars, but you're gonna keep them exactly where they are and let Nintendo just dangle out there by themselves looking like the odd man out, and you keep putting out your goatees, you keep putting out the Grand Theft Auto sixes and just capitalize on, even though you're not, I know a lot of people say Nintendo is not competing with Sony, and yeah, you're not, but they're all fighting for our dollars. So therefore, that is competition. Sony would rather you to spend, instead of spending 450 or 499 on a Switch, they would rather you to go and buy a PlayStation or a PlayStation Pro or a VR headset or a DualSense. You see what I'm saying? The more money you give somebody else, the less money you're giving Sony. And so I don't know. I'm gonna see, but we know from what they reported last year, Sony had a bunch of planes. They flew a bunch of extra stock of PlayStation and stuff over to the United States. So I'm assuming they already kind of knew some plans that was going on. They kind of knew some things. They tried to get ahead of some things. I don't know if that was just because of, hey, GTA 6, we plan on selling a bunch of consoles, or if they knew that, the potential for this tariffs and stuff to come, let's spearhead it and get as much stuff in America as soon as possible, so we don't have to take a bunch of loss. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. But if you haven't got a PlayStation by now, I'm gonna be honest. If prices are increasing and you don't want to spend it, just I'll tell anybody this, man. Hold your money. You waited this long, you might as well wait. Wait for it to come down. But those days, Porter Rock, when consoles were $299 and $250, and then eventually got down to $99, them days are over. I
That's
just think
insane.
companies are not willing to take that loss. They would rather just stop production and move on, because the cost to make it is not will never get down to the Sega Genesis days, right? or even the Dreamcast days. It's just those days are over. I think they would just rather shut it out than to let people buy it at such a rock bottom cheap price. Because if that rock bottom cheap price pulls in more people, it's going to be harder to wane those out or get them to buy a next generation system. So
Mhm.
yeah,
I would say also, right, the risk into saying, you know what, we'll go back to eating up a little bit of loss to offset the tariffs. I think that was something they would have been willing to do before the rise of free to play, because you could be like, all right, we're willing to risk lower profit margins or go back or break even or even go back to loss because we know we'll make it back up with the game sales and all that stuff. But
that's
you
true.
could,
That's true.
especially this late in the gen, the
Yeah,
audience you could be selling to, they might just be playing Fortnite.
yeah,
And you're like, we like the audience, and I think that's the thing to look at. Like, why would Sony risk, or I mean, we have multiple reasons, but what would be another factor in Sony risking a higher price point? Because probably the audience that's looking for the cheaper price point, they're probably like the Warframe, Fortnite Apex audience, Warzone,
Yeah.
where they want a cheap console just to play their free to plays. They're not interested in
Mhm.
buying a lot of games. They just, they're fine playing on their PS4 until PS5 hits that low price point they want. And once it hits that price point, all they're going to do is just play Fortnite anyway,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
just on the
true.
new
That's
consoles,
true.
right? And that's like, that means Sony's not making up that price
Yeah.
difference.
Hmm.
So they might be like, you know
Mhm.
what? Anyone who's
Fuck
willing
that.
to buy a more expensive PlayStation, they're probably gonna buy games. They probably gonna
Yeah,
subscribe. They're probably gonna do these things, right? They're not just gonna simply play Fortnite. Because if that's the case, just stay on your PS4 and play
yeah.
Fortnite there, right? So Craig, what about you? What's your thoughts on this? How do you think price increase will impact the future growth of PlayStation 5 in terms of more console sales, and could this stagnate or extend the generation a few more years? Given the turmoil, Sony might not be like, you know what? There's no point in trying to launch a new console in this
Mhm.
turbulent era. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think there's validity. I mean, we won't know. It's going to take about 2 years, so have to wait and see if it slows down. They are trying to expand through TV and the movies, so that's one thing that people got to remember. Yeah, United States is the biggest consumer in the world, and that's primarily why it did not affect us yet. Hasn't affected us yet. Doesn't mean by the end of summer that could change. But we'll definitely have to wait and see. It's part of a giant blockchain now, and it was unstable. It's not really been stable. It just got stable about 14 months ago. So, and now it's kind of thrown back up. M's right. The money markets don't like the uncertainty. They want some type of they don't mind the flexibility, but the throwing the monkey grenade, so to speak, into it is may not be the best thing. I mean, we're losing some things too. Our 401ks and things like that. We're getting there's less in there. This is what there's less in there. Ultimately, the market is over anyway. It was at 40,000, and it should be the normal thing should be about 23,000. So it's increasing exponentially, and we're the biggest consumers in the world, and so they don't want us to have to keep coming out of our own pockets when you're part of the blockchain that's spending the most money. So just have to wait and see how it's going to affect us, and just fingers crossed it doesn't. But there's a million other things that can happen.
Okay. All right. Good point. Okay. Brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about this?
So there's a couple of things that I think. Number one, I see that this generation, I agree with M and J Dub, that this generation can be a repeat of the PlayStation 3 and the 360 generation, whereas that generation was extended due to the Great Recession. Um, so that in itself could be a good thing as far as this just on the merits of this generation being potentially longer. But with the PlayStation 6 and whatever the next Xbox may be, if there is going to be a next Xbox, it can be a repeat of what the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One was, meaning that those systems were underpowered, when they came out because of economic recessions and people reluctance as to spending money. Um, Secondly, regarding the markets, as to what this can mean for Sony's market share or any other company's market share in gaming. As I said before last week, and unless I'm wrong or something changes, I think the focus is not going to be on the U.S. any longer because of the fact that to M's point, because of unfortunately for the things that because of the tariffs, which is the U.S. as a catalyst for a lot of countries aren't happy about having to pick up the tab or the change in geopolitics as far as, hey man, now you're making me uncomfortable. At one point in time we all was eating, but now you getting greedy and now we all can't eat no more. I mean, at whatever level from I'm whatever level you want to think about it, from the micro level as far as we working together or we robbing the bank together and you got greedy because you want more share than me, that's a problem at whatever at whatever comparison that I would like to make with that. So I do think that since a lot of the manufacturing is in China, and also because China has so much untapped potential in the console market, or rather, so much potential for the console market, I think that the focus is either A going to be China itself or B, Asia as a whole. Um,
Mm.
what else can I say? Oh, a joke. If Xbox Series now would be a good time if things don't follow up. If Xbox Series S or rather the Series, I'm gonna say specifically Series S. If the Series S could have held out and things do go for a turn, the Series S could actually make a comeback because of how cheap, because of its low price point. But
I agree. It's just
yeah,
like Porter Rock said, unfortunately, just that shit's so unpopular and people just don't want an Xbox.
right, right, yeah, exactly right. If it could have survived.
Mhm.
Concerning Nintendo, with it coming out at a particular time and it's just terrible. I mean, I really don't think Nintendo really has a choice, at this point. I mean, the Switch is 2025, it's 8 years old.
Yeah.
They could try to extend it for 2 years, or again, I mean, when the original Wii came out, that came out during right before the Great Recession happened, and that turned out gangbusters. So, who knows? But if history is anything to go by, as far as uh when things we're talking about inflation, and also what I don't think people are even talking about yet, but I think it's a real possibility, is hyperinflation. Whereas, hey, not only are we dealing with with more higher prices due to tariffs, but also now we got to start thinking about, hey, because of this country, and I'm just talking about from a U.S. perspective. The U.S. doesn't produce a whole lot. The supply is there. I mean, rather the either the supply isn't there, but the demand is. To me, that can cause hyperinflation where prices just go up a whole lot more. So
Yeah.
and to me, that's a worst case scenario in that particular instance. So those are my thoughts. Excuse me, those are my thoughts on the question, P. Rock.
Okay. All right. One thing to recap. One thing I agree. We talked about, is this gen the right gen to extend, and we had conversations on that. I mean, for at least 2 years, right? We've been talking about that for a minute, but not because of tariffs, but simply because of capability. And brought some great points. Like, they front load a lot of hardware, and now it's a great time to just enjoy all these different hardwares that are good companions to the PlayStation, especially since some of this hardware is companion centric, right? The VR2
Mhm.
is meant to have you play more of your PS5. The Portal, literally designed to have you play more of your PS5. The Pro, have you more, like almost everything is like, stay on PlayStation, find more hours on PlayStation. Oh, you want more power and graphics? Fine, we got you, stuff like that, right? But because of the one thing we all talked about, which is the math don't math. 7-year gens, 7-year gens, 5-year development. That don't match. Like the numbers don't match. You're gonna have a whole gen and you play one game from a developer, right? And then they start out, or depending when they start on one game, you might be lucky and get 1.5, where you might get one full game, and then the next game after is a cross-gen game with the PlayStation 6. Like the math don't math. You have a 7-year gen with a console, but it takes 5 years to make a game. Something's got to give. And I think we even talked about 10 years might even make sense. Like, don't start the gen until 2030. So now you have an even
We've been
number.
saying this for the longest.
Yeah, we talked this. So this is not like, people might clip us. Like, no, we've been talking about the math problem behind how long a game takes to make versus the generation. It's just don't math. And this might be, if there was any point where they might tip the scale, I think this tips the scale, because it just doesn't make sense to release new hardware in 2028 and the tariffs be like, if we release new hardware, it's gonna be $900.
Yep.
We can't take a $400 loss. They might be like, it's just not worth it. And then another point, you buy, let's say if you do decide to be like, all right, screw it, man, things aren't getting better, it's not getting cheaper, I try to hold out 5 years into buying a PS5, fuck it, I'm gonna pay the $500. I'm gonna pay the $550. Well, if you pay $550 now, you're not trying to hear that the console is active for 2-3 years. You want a full 5 years too, even though you decide, and people are not gonna try to hear, well, the console came out in 2020. You decide, nah, fuck that. We ain't trying to hear that shit. 5 more years to this shit. So and that might piss off the early adopters, but again, even as an early adopter, do you want to pay $800 because of the tariffs? Are you willing to spend an $800-900 console? How many people are willing to do that? Maybe not. Maybe the people who are launch might be like, you know what? This tariff shit is crazy. We could wait. Just focus on what you got now. Keep bringing the games. We're not going to rush this gen just for the sake of rushing this gen. Right?
Or they just end
make
up
more
with
games.
PS3 situation where they do sell to the early adopter, but then everybody else is like, fuck no, I'm not coming. So you walk in and then you sell your first 10 million, no problem,
And
because
then that's it.
these are the hardcore, and then that's it. Those are
It's
the only ones
stagnant.
that walk in the house. Exactly. So it's like a
And that
club full of
screws you
dudes.
over too. That screws, so like,
Exactly.
Good point.
So it's like, no, first of all, can we admit something? I don't think the PlayStation 5, I'm on the base PlayStation 5. It's been about, nearly 5 years, coming up in November or whatever. And I do not feel like, oh my God, I want to get rid of this thing. I do not even feel like I'll feel that way in the next 3 years. I'm
It's a
not like,
good
oh my
console.
God, let's start getting this thing over with. Whereas, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, 5 years in, you're like, yeah, it's about time. Whenever you guys are ready, we're ready. Let's get this thing, moving and everything. And of course, you have the games that will come and you'll be like, holy shit, I didn't know that this could do this. But those were few and far between. The Last of Us wasn't every game. Uncharted 3 and 2 were not every game. So it's like most of the third-party games were definitely making you feel like, yeah, this thing is outdated. But nowadays, look at Assassin's Creed Shadows. If anything, it feels like the third party is finally getting the glow up. People are now saying that Assassin's Creed Shadows might have taken the crown from Horizon Forbidden West as the best looking open world RPG game that we've gotten so far this generation. And it's hard to argue with that because it looks pretty damn good.
It looks
know?
really, really good. Especially as a multiplayer too. Especially as a multiplayer, that looks really great.
And I mean, take a look at games, even South of Midnight, on the Xbox side, and that thing is made by a smaller team, but what they're able to put in the game, like that shit makes your console feel fresh. It makes it feel brand new. The Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 are great consoles. They're just great pieces of hardware. If they were a graphics card, they would be like the 1080 generation where nobody on the Nvidia side wanted to get rid of the 1080 Ti. It's just one of those like Goldilocks. Where it's like the right price, the right performance, and it just keeps on giving, and games are just, more and more optimized for it. I think that this thing can easily go into the thing. And that's without considering the PlayStation 5 Pro. If you're like, damn, I just need a little bit more.
Yeah, and I got the Pro,
out there for
so
you.
I'll be good for a little while. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
Go ahead,
Hey,
brother.
I forgot a point that was part of of your question. As far as price drops. But it's still the same thing, but it's another thing that needs to be considered too. Um, Part of the reason, at least from my opinion, part of the reason why we haven't saw price drops is because of the fact that the supply chain has been messed up for
Yeah.
or at least going back to
Mhm.
COVID. Whereas,
Yeah.
damn, I can't even get my thoughts out. Excuse me. the the supply chain, the global supply chain has been messed up since COVID, and to me, that plays a part as to why
Mhm.
we don't see price drops the way that we used to see them back. Within matter of fact, around this time, like within the
Yeah.
halfway during the halfway mark, within 5 years, like we already saw instead of the price being at 500, let's just say it had been dropped down to either I don't know. 399 or 350 of the such. So I think we're just at a I think we're just at an unfortunate time in gaming. But as I said last week, I mean, gaming is coming back to being a luxury product. I mean, at the end of the day, hey, when you're in a bad economic spot, you're going to be thinking about necessities as opposed to if you can afford it. Excuse me, if you can't afford it, you're going to be more thinking about necessities as opposed to luxury items. And to me, at the end of the day, this hobby of ours is a luxury.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mm. Okay. All right. All right. Let me hit up some super chats real quick. Um, Navanzor says Rum Nitty 2-1. Gotta start the video off right. Haha. What's Rum Nitty 2-1? What's that? Right, Navanzor, what the hell is that? I don't know what that is.
It's not a real sport as far as I know.
Rum Nitty? Okay, 2-1. Gotta start the video off right. Okay. Blaze, he just said broke. $10 super chat. He just said broke. All right. Oh, bad. We got Bobo Country with the super chat says, you objectively wrong. Have you been to Scandinavia? I think, he might be talking about poor countries. I'm saying like this. I think we mentioned this one also, right? You got Finland,
Rich.
Norway,
Yeah,
Sweden. We got
yeah,
some
he's talking about
regions.
he was talking about Rich. But see,
Yeah.
Puerto Rock
But
had
even
already
then, they
we
don't
had already
compare to the consumerism because they don't have. While they may have the
yeah.
money, they don't have the population.
Mhm.
Exactly. You
And
explained that
that's
already.
what we combine
But
is
yeah,
wealth and population
population.
combined.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got over 340 million people, you know,
Yeah.
combined with the major wealth, right? So you might have Scandinavia, while population 50 million or 40 million, they're not going to be able to in mass keep up with our population. So
And also the rampant consumerism, because again, I feel like that is like a thing in and of itself. Like,
like
there's
that's an
no
American
other.
trait.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's in
Yeah.
your identity. Like you think about people who, all of the crazes on TikTok. Oh, the Stanley Cup. Do you guys hear about the Stanley Cup thing?
What?
Where moms were fighting over this water bottle,
Oh
basically.
yeah, the actual
Yeah,
coffee cup. Like they
yeah,
actually they
yeah.
rush like who goes to
hmm
Starbucks or Target
And
and
you
wait
only see
online
that in America. You don't see,
for a cup.
Yeah. Yep.
and I mean the trend is worldwide, right? Like I think it's even from Australia, maybe. I don't know. But the point is they do sell in Australia.
Like when
And
you hear Black Friday,
people
it's really America that
yeah,
provides
like
the
again, it's
like
like
the
you guys
Black
literally
Friday
get into
massacre,
physical
like Black Friday
punch-ons.
craziness.
Exactly.
It's American
Exactly.
videos. It's not
You know,
France.
exactly. You don't see that, yeah, you don't see that all over the world, like you guys it's like if you take away like the American population, like you're an alien and you just remove all of them and you replace them 300 million other people that are more America will consume a tenth of the stuff with the same amount of wealth and the same amount of people.
Oh.
Because again, no one else has that kind of frenzy. I see things like what is it? Like Macy's shopping halls. People go to like Macy's or like Sephora and they have like $4,000 worth of makeup. Where else but in America do you see this kind of a thing? Like there's no
Mhm.
European that you could say that to that will be like, oh yeah, that's a normal way of behaving. They will put you in a in a mental asylum. They'll be like, there's something fundamentally wrong with you.
Like
Like yeah, listen, American exceptionalism is a real thing, and we have to recognize that when it comes to consumerism, no one else can do it quite like you guys.
and it's true because like I use my wife as an example, right? She likes buying clothes from American Eagle, and there are clothes and bags still with the tags on it.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's literally the tags are still on it. And I'm like, holy
Well, we
cow!
can we
Like
can we can use
yo,
that. Yeah, we can use that same talking point, just us as gamers. All of us, before we started
Our
this generation,
backlog.
we had a games in our backlog.
Yeah.
Then we started this generation, and then we bought almost all the launch titles. And every month we still buy games, and we still got those backlogs from last generation. And guess what? We're still buying games every week. That's
Yeah,
just
like just
Listen,
we're
that's what
getting
it
J-Dub,
it.
is.
speak of
And these
yourself,
are
okay? Listen,
$70 games.
over here, I do my best to keep that shit locked down, okay? I've been for this is my second year. This is my
Yeah,
second year where I've actually been clearing my backlog, okay, and minimizing the amount of new games that I buy, okay?
yeah. That's
So,
why
listen.
I
That's not a lie, cause J Dub, like right now, I'm like I gotta play my backlog, cause I bought games
yeah,
day one. I'm still
Yeah.
haven't played
yeah,
it. Right now, I'm
Yeah.
playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, cause I'm like I
Yeah.
gotta
Oh,
play it. I
what?
yeah,
bought it. I'm just
yeah.
not
You
gonna
bought it.
ignore
Yeah,
it. Like I
yeah,
Yeah,
fuck
that's a
right.
great game.
And I have
yeah.
Valhalla. I bought that launch day.
Yeah.
Never
I'm still
touched it.
playing Valhalla and Emerald.
Like, bruh, it's insane. So yeah, did you bring a point? We just gotta buy it. It's just insane. That's crazy.
You know, the
Wow.
concept of retail therapy again, it's like that's an American term. You know,
It
that is
is.
this
It
this
is.
idea that you feel bad and you go and you consume in order to feel better. Again, like listen, you know, there's good and bad sides. And like I was saying last week, you know, the idea of a trade deficit happens because of this, because Americans can consume so much more. The dollar is so powerful. And when it comes to these tariff things, please remember that it is America that created this worldwide system of globalization and free trade agreements and tariff-free things. And yes, it's not all good. Tariffs are not inherently bad. Okay, what Trump is trying to do is not inherently bad. There is a need to protect jobs. There is a need to actually protect your local domestic markets. There is a need to incentivize companies to build, factories and to bring manufacturing jobs back, into the U.S. economy and many other Western economies around the world. That is absolutely true. Those are laudable goals. But you can't do that if you give them a 3-minute deadline on a game show where you're like, hey, here's the tariff board. And now all of you, effective immediately, are subject to these things. They need heads up. It takes years to create factories. It takes years to train people. And they have to know that these things are going to stand, because a company is not going to go invest in building a factory if next week you're going to now take away the incentive that they had to build it in the first place. That cannot happen. That's not the way to do it.
Well,
So it's
So there was
but
a
yeah.
man,
podcast.
this
So if
is America. Is America. We build shit all the time, and we'll tear it down before it's even open. That theory doesn't
But
necessarily.
that's
It
wasteful.
can't.
Like no
No,
company wants to be
absolutely
the person to do that.
not. But here's the thing, right? Just think about it. Americans, we're the biggest consumer, but we're like last place when it comes to being producers. So you want us, right? And this is, I guess, this is just the theory about America and how it's viewed and what reality is. Yes, we like cheap things. We like cheap clothes. We like cheap consoles, cheap phones, and we'll buy it because it's cheap. We'll buy it. But if we were to bring those jobs back home, which let's say they come back home, they're going to be ran by robots. So it's not like it's going to be a job I'll have or Puerto Rico have or Craig have, right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't even apply to us these days, right? So we have to acknowledge that reality.
Mhm.
And then the second thing is the amount of money that it costs that company to stop what they're doing, right? Because someone in China is probably making this product here for $1, right? $1 an hour. You telling me they're gonna bring the job back here or start production back here and pay someone $20-$25 an hour? No, that's just not gonna happen. It's just not. The whole theory, and that's just we're not being very honest with ourselves.
I
Those
mean, look,
jobs, those things like that, Americans, for one, don't have the skill and the know-how.
mhm.
And Tim Cook even said that earlier this week. He was like, back when they outsourced stuff to Mexico and other places, that was because it was from cheap labor. But we've gotten away with that. We've gotten away from that. This is no longer about just cheap labor. This is just finding the skill just to put together an iPhone. The person has to be so skilled and so Like they just have to have that knowledge. And that's just something that nobody's going to go to school for, right? And then let's say you go to school to learn how to assembly an iPhone with all these microscopic parts that you're going to have to put inside this little tin can, put the battery in the back of it, put the case on it, and all that stuff so precise. Now you're going to have to pay somebody, instead of paying them $1 an hour, now you're going to have to pay them, let's say at worst, minimum wage. No, it's not going to be done. Americans who would want to do those jobs are not going to want to get paid minimum wage. That's a non-starter.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
So
listen,
it's just kind of, it is what it is. We're lying to ourselves about what kind of nation we are, and what's really it's to set they're lying to you. They're trying to sell you this dream. We'll stop producing this in China and everywhere else. We'll bring these jobs back here. Okay, but who the fuck wants to work for that price unless you're gonna pay top dollar or something that's equivalent where I can keep being a consumer, right? Because we're part of this consumerism environment here in this country. Unless you can pay me something that allow me to keep doing this, most people who produce an iPhone in China can't afford an iPhone in China. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We'll buy it here when we spend what $1,500, if not $2,000 unsubsidized for an iPhone. That's just how we are. But it's like, just because I want to buy an iPhone don't mean I want to go fucking in a factory
make
and
one.
make
Yeah.
one. And that's
I,
that's a mental mindset that we have in America.
I will
So
say this. If you wanted to bring back the jobs, you will have to change something else fundamental, and that is you have to change the nature of American capitalism. Because let's face it, they could. They could bring back all of these things. It's just that the companies will have to accept less margins, Because now we live in a world where American CEOs are paid hundreds of millions of dollars, and we don't see that as problematic. Whereas in the past, like, back in the 1970s, when the manufacturing jobs were there were a lot more unions. There were actual profit sharing with companies. Like employees were the actual shareholders and stakeholders of the company. You would have to unwind so many of the policies that have created this kind of free market will decide everything and we don't care as long as the free market works kind of mentality. And then you could do that, because if a person that was creating the iPhone for, let's say, minimum wage, or a livable wage, right? Also was naturally earning shares in Apple, then yeah, it could be that by the time that person hits retirement, they actually have, like, I don't know, a few $100,000 worth in their Apple stocks. And for them, it actually kind of pans out. It actually kind of makes sense because they're able to earn a living, and then they're able to retire comfortably, because that's what used to happen. So yeah, you're right. By itself, it will never work. Just bringing back this job and being like, okay, we took this Chinese person, we took him away. Here, American, here's this factory seat. Come and sit in it and come and manufacture things. For all of the reasons that you said, yeah, it's not going to work. Another option would be to just
Can I say this?
not
Can I say this one
Yeah,
thing?
go
Just
ahead. Yeah.
because what you said earlier was, and I think this is just it's the way that people view things, but it's not always true. People like talk about the CEO salaries and stuff like that. Yeah, when you look at how much executives and stuff like that they make a lot of money, but you're not looking at why they make a lot of money. They're in charge of multi-million, if not billion-dollar corporations that employ thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. They have to be the top guy to move that company in a direction that's going to make it not only profitable but sustainable. That's not something you can just take anybody off the street and do it. They have to deal with that stress. They have to deal with board members. They have to deal with a lot of shit. You have to be a very smart person that think outside the box. It's not just, oh, there's just this rich fat cat just sitting up here. It's like, no, you want someone who's like that, and it costs, because if you don't pay this guy, you know, let's say Tim Cook, right? Tim Cook, let's say he makes 100 million a year, right? And I'm just putting that out there. Just say he
Mhm.
makes 100 million a year, and it may seem like, oh, that's just grossly, just over. Like you shouldn't. Nobody deserves that. Yeah, but if Tim Cook, right? If Apple doesn't pay Tim Cook that money, you know what's going to happen? Tim Cook is going to go to India or China or somewhere else, not only make that money, but he's going to lead some other company to be that $1 trillion company. He's going to lead some other nation with having that next multi-trillion-dollar company. And so we need to stop thinking. Now, I know it's the have versus the have-nots mentality, but it's in any company, in any business, the top of that company, the person who's making the decisions for that company. Even in video games, we talk about Jim Ryan and all these people. That's not it's easy to sit back and say, oh yeah, they're this, and that. But the bulk of their job is to making sure this company stays profitable quarter after quarter, year after year for a decade or however long their tenure. And these guys have been with the company for 30 years apiece, right? And so we have to you have to put yourself in that position. Would you really want that role in doing that? Those are roles where you don't sleep most of the week. You don't, I mean, it's just a lot of stuff. And I'm not taking up for people who makes, I'm not, it's like I'm just taking up for the rich guy. I'm just trying to give you another alternative on why these people make the amount of money that they make. It's because this is not something that you can just crank out of universities. This is not something that you can just find anywhere. It's a specific skill set. It takes a specialized person to be able to facilitate multiple countries together and have them all agree and choose a direction and a path. Satya Nadella, Microsoft was already one of the world's richest company. But when Satya Nadella came over to Microsoft and they made him the head, he had a vision. His vision in the future was cloud, right? Prior to that, it was what? Steve Ballmer and then Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates was the Windows guy. Steve Ballmer, he was another Microsoft Office guy, right? He was that. Well, you have Satya Nadella. He's a cloud guy. He bet on cloud, and it paid off multiple dividends. Now Microsoft is what, $3-4 trillion company? It was only $1 trillion company was with Steve Ballmer. It was a $500 billion company when it was Bill Gates, right? And he's some of the smartest people in the world. But you have to pick that right person. And it's a reason they're paying Satya Nadella $100 billion, $100 million a quarter or however much he gets paid.
I
So
mean,
I
look,
just
I understand your
wanted to
point,
add that in
but
there.
I think that while I can't speak on every single singular executive, there's been a lot of studies that have been done into the performance of CEOs versus their compensation. And for most of
Mhm.
them, it's not tied to how well they have performed. Like obviously Satya Nadella is a standout example. We can see that. We could probably name one or two or others. But for most of them, the compensation is tied to the board members. And they negotiate with the board members what the compensation should be. And the board members are usually their friends. So, like whatever pay packet, that's why, for example, Elon Musk was going to get something like $440 billion from Tesla in terms of stock.
Mhm.
And when you take a look at the actual Tesla's actual performance, you could not justify that to the point where one of the board members even tried to sue him to be like, no, this is not acceptable that you're taking all of this value when you have not delivered the same. So that's what I'm saying. Like, obviously, it's a nuanced discussion. It's not one size
Mhm.
fits all. It's not like all CEOs that are paid exorbitant amounts of money should have
Yeah.
a drastic reduction. But there's
Yeah.
also a
A,
matter of
lot,
fact that
a lot of it
capitalism.
is in stocks. A lot of it is in, grant. A lot of it is in various ways. It's not just, this is
Yeah,
a
no,
pay
it's not
check.
just straight finance. Most of the time,
Yeah,
they actually can go for like, is it like what is it? Sometimes they accept to be paid $1, like an actual
yeah,
physical dollar,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
they just have the rest in valuation. But the thing is, that valuation is valuable, like the stock market and everything like that.
yeah. No, it is.
So
Yeah, yeah.
all I'm saying is this: if you have a more equitable, a more what Americans will see as a socialist system, even though
Um,
to the rest of the world it's literally just neutral. Um, yeah, like if you
M,
take a look at the rules around Europe, there's a
the
reason
chat.
that a lot of
The,
CEOs in Europe that are just
yeah,
as they are handling banks that are just as valuable as
yeah,
the American companies or whatever, but they don't
yeah.
get paid the same, and that is again, there's many reasons for that. But if you were
Hmm.
to adopt an approach like that, where you
Hmm.
can say like, hey guys, we're going to re-examine the entire thing from the ground level, and we're going to
Hmm.
end up at a very different vision of what capitalism should look like, then you could, give people a living wage and you could give people, the ability to work manufacturing jobs that are decent. Again, I always point that back to The Simpsons. Homer Simpson was just an average male when he was, when The Simpsons came out, and he was working a dead
He
end
worked in
job
a
in,
in a
in a
nuclear
dead end
plant.
place, and he was, yeah, exactly, and he was able to, without much intellect or smarts or genius, he was able to have a wife, have 3 children, have a home, have a car, and he was able to do all of that on his, entry level salary or whatever he had. He was the typical man in the American dream. That doesn't happen nowadays. That is not the same situation. So what I'm saying is that
Yeah.
jobs like his, blue collar workers, they were able to earn themselves a good, sustainable living, you know, and it could happen again. But the thing is that it cannot happen by just saying like, hey, Ford, bring
Mhm.
your manufacturing back to the US and we are going to change nothing else around it, you know?
Yeah.
Another thing to
Well,
add,
go
I
ahead. Go
I've
ahead.
been like watching new TED Talks on businesses, like the
Mhm.
actual business owners, right? It's funny,
Yeah.
right? We listen to politicians, whatever. I'm like, hold on, let's listen to the actual people that let's listen to the people that people expect. Hey, you need to make the decision and move your stuff to the United States since you are the head bosses, right? And now they're speaking out, and some of them are like, telling, like there's a lot of expectations to move manufacturing, and there's certain things that manufacturing that's just not possible to move, right? Because it doesn't make
Mhm.
sense to, even with the tariffs. And one guy gave an example is, some people think that when you open up a manufacturing company, everything gets put
Mhm.
together and built there. He goes, that's not how it works. A lot of manufacturing is just really assembly plants. Is you're
Yep.
assembling components and items together to produce this thing. But the question is, where do you get the components that you're assembling? And he says some of those stuff you can only get in China or you can only
Yep.
get in Vietnam, right? Because he says some things, especially in the electronics industry, some stuff is built around rare earth minerals, rare
Yeah.
stuff
That
that's
that are
only
not here.
like yeah, that's only in China or only in Taiwan, which is why you have the majority of the semiconductor manufacturing plants there. Is
Mhm.
because the components to bring semiconductor is literally there. That's why everybody moved the plants to build semiconductors over there because the materials is there. So you would co-locate the production of these components where the materials are at, which eases logistical chain management and streamlines it. So he's like, okay, so you build manufacturing plants in the United States, but your materials are still in China, still subject to the tariff. So he's like, there's still no point because America, you can't produce some of this stuff because America doesn't have the mines and the materials on the ground. There's no mining for some of these materials. They don't exist here in the Western Hemisphere. You either got to go to Africa or you got to go to China or you got to go certain areas in the. That's why Ukraine is a big thing. That's why the United States, he was saying raw earth, raw earth. No, it's rare earth. Ukraine has a lot of rare earth material which United States want access to, right? Because we don't have it innately here, right?
Mhm.
So some of these companies, like, even if we wanted to, we can't because the United States cannot support the creation
Yep.
of components to assemble the stuff we want. They
Yep.
still have to go to China and they still get tariffed. So you're just
Yep.
like, you just end up. So now you build this factory, you still have to get the components from China, which is subject to the tariff. Now you ship it on this high tariff, and now you're paying an employee $30 an hour. You're still gonna end up paying $5,000 for the stuff anyway. The only difference is the company invested $10 billion to do the same thing. So you might as well just sell the product for $5,000 anyway.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
there's just no and some of the business guys, like, the president Donald Trump, he just did a carte blanche whatever instead of
Yeah.
strategically going after, hey,
Mhm.
what can we pull back, what can we bring
Yeah.
here
Exactly.
that we can support with the resources we have, meaning there's absolutely no reason for you to be over there, you can do everything here, go after
Yeah.
that, right? And also the business is like, and this is also affecting American markets because it started a trade war, right?
Yep.
And oddly enough, I think the recent news came out today, right? China now is stopping imports
Shipments of
of
shit. Yep.
American beef.
Yep.
Like we didn't think about this. Like this is something people thinking like competing with China. Oh, we're gonna win. People don't realize while we don't have exports of electronic goods and all this stuff in other countries, we do have huge exports in stuff that we do have a lot of, which is food. I didn't realize China was the third biggest consumer of American beef.
Beef.
I didn't know that. Who knew that? None of us knew that. I guarantee the people who voted for Trump didn't know that. No one knew that China is number 3 for American exports for American beef producer. Almost $2 billion a year in beef. It gets imported to China. China shut that down. They said no more. We're not ordering beef from America no more. A $2 billion industry gone. They're going to Australia
all the farmers,
now.
all the farmers,
So we
all the ranches, all of that stuff lost. That they're gonna lose.
So the stuff we do have here, the stuff that we do grow here, we just screwed them over. Like the beef guys, like we are an American produced business. In fact, we make money sending stuff overseas. Now you screwed our own inherent manufacturing, like farm grown stuff. Now the American beef, owners and stuff lost $2 billion. Their third biggest importer or their third biggest exporter, whatever. They lost a customer. The third biggest customer they had is gone. Because China said, nope, you want to play this game, we're not ordering beef from you no more. Hey, Australia, let's make a deal. Guess what Australia says? Hey, mate, we got Angus beef. Our shit's better anyway, grass-fed.
Yep.
Australia's about to gain a $2 billion industry.
No GMO, no GMOs.
Now, picture this. Now, that's just business-wise. Now, I'm thinking, being in the military, I'm thinking, tactical. I'm talking about relationships from a defense thing, right? We have great relationships with Australia from a tactical sense, right? We're thinking, hey, we're gonna join together and we're gonna make sure if China does anything crazy, we are there with you. Yeah, we're in Darwin. We have a huge base in Darwin, right? It's public knowledge, right? So we're very entitled to Australian Defense Force. But now China's like, hey, we're going to give you $2 billion a year to send us beef. That changes the Australian mindset. Like, wait a minute. Why would we go to war with somebody that's giving us $2 billion? Is China really the bad guy? When they're willing to, hey, yo, let's make a deal. Now it's hard to convince Australia, hey, you got to be careful with China. Whoa, hold on. We got a $2 billion deal with them now. And who knows how much more? Chicken, pork. That changes, money changes the landscape. When you create business relationships like that, hey, you know what? We want you to provide this service. We'll give you $2 billion a year. Now you have to consider yourself like, wait a minute. This changes our relationship with China. Now we making money off them. Are we really gonna have a tit for tat given the fact that they want our beef and we want their money? That changes things.
I mean,
now.
look,
That changes the global outlook.
Australia has always been stuck between you two. It has always been stuck between, because we export a lot to China. So we've always had that weird thing what we have. For example, when the South China Sea debacle happened, Australia was put in a really weird position because, again, whenever there's a direct confrontation between American desires and Chinese, desires, we get stuck in the middle, and we have to try to thread the needle between the two giants. Should not be crushed by either one accidentally. But yeah, you were talking about it. Another thing that they just did today is that they halted the deliveries of Boeing airliners.
That's another Chinese, one. They said they can't. They can't order planes from Boeing anymore.
Exactly, and I think what
and that's a homegrown manufacturing thing for America. So now the ones that do have manufacturing that are making money, now they're like, bro, like, what do you do? You're screwing the stuff that we do have over because you went to this carte blanche, screw everybody, and now the actual American companies that do have even the small business. I didn't realize how much small businesses in America rely on China. So even the homegrown stuff we do have here, they're like,
well, that 90% of our businesses here are small business.
And you're absolutely right. You have you're changing the political landscape. Listen, first of all, as a person who's not a big fan of the US, I do think that the entire world should rethink its reliance upon the United States, because you guys have been proven to be dyslexic. Your parties, your political system.
Listen, man, to be fair,
you're not reliable. You're not
Listen,
This
no,
is the
to be
first-
fair,
this is the
this wasn't a
first,
problem
man.
until now. We've been pretty good.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah,
this is
we're
the
not
first.
perfect.
You guys have been
We're not,
pretty bad for a long time.
Obama, you had no issues. Biden, you had no
Yeah.
issues.
Obama had
Yeah.
plenty of
Bush,
issues.
all right,
Again,
he had
it
his
just
Iraq
depends-
thing, but Australia was fine. You know, we've been pretty
Listen,
good. This is out of
listen.
character. This is absolutely out of character. It's out of character. Yeah, it's out of character.
Go take a look
Okay.
at what they did in Libya. Go take a look
Okay.
at the coups that they pulled in the Togo and
Listen,
everything.
that's
Go take a look at Africa, and
Okay,
then you will find that America
but
is
we,
not particularly
but we
well
never
known.
screwed you over, okay? We never screwed Australia over. We never screwed England over. You know, the main places we were pretty good.
Sure.
You know, let me put it this way:
right.
console prices was not going up until now. We've been good.
Okay,
Console prices were cheap.
okay.
That's true.
Well,
True.
point is, I do think that the world
Uh-uh.
needs to win themselves away from America's teeth. But at the same time, this isn't the way to go about it. Like, this is just everybody just suffers. Like, that's the thing. Everybody
Mhm.
just is suffering,
Yeah.
and it didn't have to be this way. And another thing that people don't think about these tariffs is that tariffs are supposed to actually account for goods and services. And what America doesn't export a lot of goods, they export a fuck ton of services.
Service. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Freaking
Absolutely.
Twitter is a service. That's American.
Yep.
You know, Facebook is a service. That's American. You know, all of these banking services, like the US dollar is the most powerful currency on earth because of the banking infrastructure. You know, if countries start being like, hey, you know what? We're going to go after your banks. Yeah, you guys are going to suffer way more than you ever would for meat or produce or anything like that, or grains, because that is the core of what you export. That is the core of how you even influence the world to see you as the number one country on the planet, because we are all working according to the financial services. You know,
Okay. All right. Good point. All right. Let me do some more super chats and move on to the next topic. We got J Roll. He just doing the fist bump for $2. My man. Thank you so much. We got Gabriel R with $5 super chat. Says, just got the plat in Death Stranding. Shout out to you and the panel for really batting for it. It really is more than just a FedEx game. DS2, come here. Oh, hey, it's
well done,
you know,
well done.
I'm glad we're helping influence. Like we did say, you either gonna love it or hate it, but there's something about the game that once you play it, you gonna do it. You're gonna play it.
I got the plat as well. That thing
Yeah.
was fantastic.
So
One of my
good on
proudest.
you. Good on you, Gabriel. Glad you really enjoyed it. It is something, I'm telling you. It's if you look at it on the stream or whatever, it doesn't look appealing. But once you play it, it's something about that game that just like, I gotta keep doing this.
If
We
it
gonna
clicks,
see
it
the-
clicks.
Yeah.
If it clicks, it clicks.
Yeah. Anonymous Boss with the super chat says, Mello said we should grow tomatoes out of our car trunk. Oh, man, we at that point? Yo, J-Dub, you still talk to Mello. We at that point? We got to grow on our shit at the back of the Chevelle? He said
Yeah,
that?
man.
Oh,
Yeah, he want us to grow our vertical farming and in our backyard tomatoes and stuff and be self-sufficient.
my
even
God, man.
even though all those seeds
He
come
voted
from
for Trump?
Monsanto,
He voted for Trump? Oh,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
I don't understand that dude, bro. That dude, I guarantee he's one of them dudes saying life was expensive. I can't afford tomatoes. And now that Trump's saying, oh, don't worry, I'll grow my own. Everything's all right. We good. Like, what? Oh, man. Yo,
Get
it's
your own
crazy.
chicken farm.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Don't
Oh, it's all right. You don't need that. What do you mean? Like, I can't
we
even,
have-
you know what? We're not getting into that. We're not doing that. We're not
Yep.
getting into that. Oh, man. Jimmy
Yeah, let's
Harrison.
not make it
man.
political.
That's not. We're not doing political. We're just not doing that. We're leaving that alone. We're moving on, right? Jimmy Harrison with the $5 super chat says, "I must say, you boys look smooth and white on the podcast logo picture. Good to see you all. Right? We look like Boys to Men. You know what I'm saying? Like we look like a R&B group on the you know what I'm saying on the picture for the logo for the podcast. You know, shout out to SPR doing the good stuff, right? And then the final we got another super chat, Ghost in the Garage, who's balling $100, man. My man said, hey, who's suffering? Clearly not him. He hasn't even noticed the price gone up. Him and J-Dub. He's like, hey, listen, I don't know what y'all talking about. Shit's
man.
getting more expensive. He's like,
Listen,
what?
listen.
I just
Ghost in the
ordered
Garage
the
bought
brand
the
new Ferrari, coming in next week. You know?
Oh man!
And-
Listen,
Oh,
Ghost in the
and,
Garage is a
and-
type-
and that's another thing.
Listen.
The 30% increase in prices because of the tariffs.
Oh,
Ferrari.
J-Dub, the last time he been to supermarket was 15 years ago. He just
Right.
orders Instacart and that shit just comes in.
Man.
He doesn't know how much milk costs. He's like, it just comes in.
Oh,
It's just
man.
to J-Dub, milk is in the fridge. It's just there. I'm like, he
Now,
doesn't know
Mello want me to have a cow in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
Milk your ocean. You're gonna get them kids to milk it.
Yeah.
Boy.
Man.
It's gonna. Oh man! Shout out to Ghost of Garage. He's like, who's suffering? I don't know what y'all talking about. It sounds like a y'all problem. Get your bread up.
Salute to my brother Ghost with the 100. We appreciate you,
with the
brother.
100, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ghost, man. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Thank you. You know,
a fellow car connoisseur. My brother.
Oh, is he? Is he?
Yeah, absolutely. He got the same cars I got, man.
He has a Ferrari.
Yeah, he got Lamborghini, Ferrari.
Look at that. You hear these guys?
He's a fellow connoisseur.
You know
he's a fellow business owner and executive. You know what I'm saying?
I know who you're talking about. Shout out. That's right. Good Christian man, has a wonderful family. I know exactly what you're talking about on Twitter now. Man, good for him, man. Definitely, man. It's good stuff. You know what I'm saying? And just like anything, you know, the good part about you and him, right? Like, you guys aren't Nepo babies. Like, you built your shit from nothing. Like, he showed a picture on Twitter where he came from. Even I'm like, damn. Even I'm like, I came from nothing too. But again, I was like,
oh, he's a veteran too.
Oh yeah, yes he is. He's also a veteran. Did 20 plus years in the army, stuff like that. So shout out to Ghost.
He put in the work. He put in the work.
Saying, you know? and he did no kids' favors. He makes his kids work.
Yep.
He's like, you ain't getting no freebies. You know, shout out to him. He's like, you ain't getting no freebies either. You got to put in the work, right? So shout out to him, man. You know, when I saw that picture of where he's came from, I'm like, but that's the way you do it, right? Like, kind of earning your shit feels good, right? Versus giving. It's just something about it, you know? Absolutely, all right? But shout out to Ghost, man. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed the podcast. Now, let's talk Marathon, right? I want to know, I'll start with Jada. How was your Marathon reaction? You saw the gameplay review, right? You said, get good, figure it out.
Yep. I did.
You know, all right. So what do you think? How do you feel about the Marathon reaction for you personally, and then also what you've seen from the community?
Okay, well, I will say this. I still stand by my get good. I stand by that.
All right.
I'm gonna keep on that. But I will say this, because we're in a day and age where we are with gamers, right? And the console wars fizzled out. And now, you know, it's everybody's with the, you know, everybody's with the, yeah. It's like the number one reaction I saw was, oh, this needs to be free to play.
I gotta buy it.
People were complaining that it was like $30-$40, and I said, this is the downside of gaming as I see it. And listen, y'all know, right? Me and Puerto Rock, we was on the front end of the console wars, right? We some founding fathers of the great console war, right? 2013.
Like World War II vets and shit like that.
Yeah. But now the console war is over, man. It's like we just need to enjoy good games and great games. But there's that crowd that if the game is not free, if it's not free to play, if it's not in Game Pass, they don't give a fuck about it. They're gonna shit on it. They're gonna hope it fails, and they don't care, because they still have their free games that they play, and they're fine. But I'm like, everybody and their mom loved Destiny. They love Bungie, right? Everybody loved Bungie when it was with the Xbox guys. They loved Bungie when they were with Microsoft. They talk, you know, near and dear about it. Everyone loved Destiny. They even wanted them back
to bring Halo
back. Exactly. Remember? Come on, Phil, go pick them back up.
Rumor. Phil about to acquire Bungie, Halo's back, and then it ended up being Sony.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't just want to throw all the hate on just the fact that Sony owns them now. Yeah. That's a part of it. That's a certain percentage of it. But even if it wasn't a Sony game, I'm just seeing games now where people they can't wait to hate on the game. It's like a new
Assassin's Creed Shadow.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually like
example.
What happened when we used to cheer games coming on? Like it's like, man, I'm playing all these great games. I don't care about I never got into the whole woke gate, you know, trying to make sure games get shitted on and make sure it fail because it's woke or it has this or that. I don't care about any of that. I mean, I'm the guy that I was super interested in Concord. I still think it was a great game for me, right? It did what I needed it to do. But so is other games that failed that I was interested in that failed. But I never wanted to root for the games to fail. I never wanted it to fail. Just because if something is not my cup of tea, it's for other people. I don't like World of Warcraft. Do I want it to fail? No. There's a crowd out there that loves that game and they continuously love that game. But now it's just for some reason, and this has nothing to do with Sony, right? Because Bungie has always been a third. Destiny was always a third party, even after Sony bought them. They said they're going to keep them as a third party, so it doesn't matter. There's no Sony points over here on this side. But I've never seen so many people just hate on these games that's coming out. They want them all to just fail, and I find it's just fucking crazy. But one thing that gave me it gave me a positive outlook was the fact that so many people signed up for the alpha. It crashed the Discord server. And so that means even though a lot of people get on Twitter and they tweet this, oh, this is generic, oh, I don't like this game, or oh, this game is woke, this game is this game is that, and they was just
Yo,
shitting on
how
the
is
game.
the game woke? I'm just like, yo, you just call everything woke nowadays?
Any
That's
game
crazy.
Any game with a woman in it, it doesn't matter.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Even a synthetic woman?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's
But
crazy.
Aaron, I will say this because Aaron just he said J-Dub doesn't understand it, but he does it to Xbox. Here's the thing about me, Aaron. The games that I tease you guys about Xbox, I buy those games and I play them and I stream them on my channel. So all the shit I gave you on Sea of Thieves, guess what? I bought the game and I played it. Matter of fact,
That's
I'm the
funny
original.
because you give shit to games, but you actually play them and you stream them.
Absolutely.
More than that.
Absolutely.
This is how you know J-Dub is going to buy 7 Switch 2s. Okay, don't listen to him. Okay, he's in there.
Oh man,
he's in there
Start me
like
out.
Donkey Kong.
But Redfall, day one, I bought that game and I streamed it for 2 hours. We got sick to our stomach. We got woozy. We had to turn the game off.
Oh,
all
man.
of those games that y'all don't play, Aaron, you don't play, you don't buy. All of those failed Xbox games I bought, I played them, and I streamed them on my channel so you can go see it, right? So don't blame me because I tease Xbox about a game. You know what I'm saying? Like I still buy it and I still support. Anything that I like, I'll support. Anything I'm interested in, I'll buy it and I'll support it. It's just a fact. Matter of fact, I just got a physical copy of Indiana Jones for my PS5 Pro, brother. I will be streaming that tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you can come check that out. You know what I'm saying? And it is, again, yeah, Aaron, it's just like that. It's just a character, man. That's my Twitter character. I buy my games, I play my games, and I enjoy them. It doesn't matter what platform. But I'm seeing an overabundance of just negativity, and it's not just from this one game. It's just games in general, to the point where I'm like, damn, do people even like games anymore? And then that's why I set my profile offline and I just game by myself so I can tune out the bullshit. Because I get it. The console war is over. People are gonna have to do some other things and the rah-rah and all kind of stuff. But I'm like, damn, man, I thought everybody would be excited for a new Bungie game. Don't look at it as a PlayStation game or a Sony game. Look at it as a Bungie. These people have been giving you great Destiny games for the last decade, pretty much, right? Between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. And everyone enjoyed all of those things. Matter of fact, they got a new how would you call it? A new DLC that's coming out, a new season, I guess you would call it. I forgot how they call those things, but that's coming out. They're going to talk about it on the 16th. And I want to see how we like you, Bungie, or will they just root for that to fail?
Oh yeah, the Edge of Fate.
Yeah, the Edge of Fate. Yeah, that's it. So I don't know. But I'm interested in the game. It's Bungie. They've never made a flop, right? So I hope they continue that winning streak, and just I hope the game is great. And I'll be there day one. I don't, and people making a big deal. Oh, it's an extraction shooter. We don't like those. And it's like, you don't? Well, Helldivers 2 is an extraction shooter. Escape from Tarkov is an extraction shooter. The Division and Division 2,
the Dark
right?
Zone.
Exactly. It's an extraction. It's a lot of games out here that are extract. You just, for whatever reason, man, I don't know, and I don't want to blame it on all gamers. Maybe it's just the people that I see on Twitter and in
It's that,
the YouTube
you know.
guys with the face, the little bubble, right?
Mhm.
It's just a little. And I'll just chalk it up to being the little bubble that we're in. They're the ones that's doing this, and gamers, majority of gamers are not. Majority of gamers are excited. They're going to support it, and I'll just go with that just to be a little bit more positive. But it is kind of sad when I see it because I'm like, guys, I thought you would be ecstatic about a new fucking Bungie game. Like,
Don't
geez.
worry, J-Dub. I'm gonna bring you all of that hatred for Marathon right here on the podcast.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna put the brain up
I'm
next.
gonna deliver it to your
Yeah.
hands like that Ferrari that's
I
about to
have a
come to you.
yeah, because I didn't get to see your marathon video yet. I'm thinking, this is gonna be
Yeah.
juicy. But we'll
Oh,
get
yeah.
to that. We'll get to that real quick. Let me do super chats and I'm a brain speak. We got Anonymous Boss. He says Mello said he buying a box of Switch 2 manuals and a box of tomatoes to flip in the hood. Oh
Man.
He's gonna flip them Nintendo Switch manuals. Oh
Yeah,
snap.
buddy.
And Gordo P23 with the $10 super chat. Thank you, my brother. He says, I think charging for a live service makes no sense. With all the live service shutdowns, how do I know the game will still be active a year after I pay $50 to $70? You know.
Don't worry about that. Sony will fund you. Don't worry.
Oh yeah,
Well,
technically.
As someone who knows. As someone who knows. Don't worry about your money. You're safe.
Concord got refunded, right? And that's what
You're
they're trying to
safe.
say. They're trying to say it's Concord 2, but it's true. Good points. One, let me get Brain's thought about this. Brain, what's your thought? Have you seen the marathon gameplay reveal, and what are your thoughts about it? And what are your thoughts about the community reaction?
All right. So as far as my thoughts about it, I am not impressed at all.
Oh, okay.
I am at best. I am cautiously pessimistic, and this is just how I feel about it because to me, um, um, Marathon aesthetically looks like a combination of Fortnite and No Man's Sky. It's just not doing it for me, and that's not a dig at No Man's Sky whatsoever because I do like that game, but as far as the genre of like Fortnites and then what's the other one? And Overwatch and Marvel Rivals.
That graphic, like the purple, like yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
why
not
can't
it
we
for
go
me.
back to
the
gritty?
color palette?
Yeah, why can't we go back to the gritty palette? You know what I'm talking about? I know what you mean. It seems like almost all the new stuff is going after that style.
Yeah, it's like
all of them.
It's to be different.
But it doesn't
you
feel
know,
different. It feels like everything else now.
Well,
it started out as a different art style. Now it feels like the Fortnite template.
It's like the norm. Yeah, it's like the norm. Like the I may lose you guys on this comparison, but it kind of reminds me of how after like in the I would say like in the late 2000s and definitely in the 2010s, I was still looking at cartoons, especially with my kids, you know, as they were being born and them growing up. A lot of cartoons had the art style of Teen Titans Go. And
Yes. I know what you mean.
I know
what you mean.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. They adopted that weird, like boxy, triangle-ish, like what the fuck?
Yeah, I think it's called Kali art style. I think that's the name of the style, but it's not to me. If it wasn't the norm, or if at least every cartoon that I saw from for a whole from like 2010 all the way up to 2020 didn't adopt that style, I probably wouldn't have minded. But the fact that every cartoon has to look like that is like, what the F is this? But going back to Marathon, the reason why I'm saying I'm cautiously, I'm not straight out saying it's a dud is because of the fact that we are talking about Bungie here, and Bungie does have a very good track record. So I'm not going to just totally count them out. But as far as the community saying that it's dead on arrival, it's Concord 2, it's going to be the nail in Bungie's coffin. Only time can tell. I mean, just as I'm. You have people that don't like it, but maybe maybe it's going to be one of the better games that comes out this year. I mean, who knows? But as far as me, hey man, I know my limitations. I know what I like and what I don't like, and as of right now, marathon ain't it for me. But I'm not gonna have my opinion or my perspective rain down on how somebody else may feel about it. I mean, what J Dub said about it. Hey, you know what? I really respect his opinion just because of the fact that hey, he may talk shit about the game, but he'll at least play it as well. I'm not even willing at this point. I'm not willing to spend money on it. He will and he does, and to me, I tip my hat to them. I tip my hat to him because of the fact that that is if I don't have to. I don't have to play a game to look at it to know a game is bullshit. Like and maybe this is an extreme case, no pun intended, but Golem, I didn't have to play that game to realize that game was going to be bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I stop.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Now for the Super Bowl. Now, okay, here we go. Stand back.
Listen.
Stand back.
Listen.
All right. I gotta bring my sound the alarm back to the show. I gotta bring that.
Yeah,
Remember I used to do the countdown to nuke? I gotta bring
Yeah.
that back. I'm gonna set that up for next week. I gotta start bringing that stuff.
Mhm.
Because we are about to get it right now. Here we go. Go
Listen.
ahead. Pop off.
I like to think that I am going to hate on Marathon for a unique reason, okay? At the very least. But first of all, let's talk a little bit about the live stream and the presentation and basically how it all came about. I was thoroughly unimpressed. I don't care to hear about developers before I like your game. Straight up. Like until you've sold me on your game, until I'm a fan of your game, I don't want you to sit there and give yourself congratulations on live, wasting my time. Because it was like a 90-minute show or something like that, and there was only like 20 or maybe 30 minutes worth of content. Why do you think I want to listen to you? Show me the game, let the game do the talking, and then if I'm interested in the game, then afterwards I'm gonna go and just suck up as much information that you're willing to give, on the thing. So I didn't like the presentation format. Let's talk about the game. My primary issue, which by the way, I made a video about this on the channel, guys. If you want to hear me talk about it for 90 minutes about why I was so unimpressed by it, is with this. Okay, I have this book. Okay, it's called The Design of Everyday Things. Okay, I hope that is coming through clearly,
Okay.
but that's what it is. So this book, what it details is basically how you actually design objects, whether those are cities, whether those are systems, whether those are electronics, or whether they are objects. Everything from like door handles to like teacups or whatever. And basically, what that is trying to tell you is that there are rules that govern design, right? And as I was looking through the art style, which I think is the most divisive thing, I was like, okay, this is a sci-fi world. And to me, if you guys know, I'm a huge fan of sci-fi. And sci-fi is science fiction. That means that the worlds that you design have to be grounded in realities that are true now. So if something makes sense now, it should make sense in your hypothetical fictional world. And this world is set roughly around 800 to 900 years further into the future. I think they have a slightly different timeline from us anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But the point is that design principles should still be grounded, especially in a world that's going to be heavily automated and everything like that. And basically, the use of color makes no sense. As I was going through the actual world and the outside they have put on, I realized that neon green is kind of like the red. They pay attention to me color. It highlights the most important thing that a thing can do. And they just had it plastered all over the place. And as I was going through, and you'll see it in the video if you go and watch it on the channel, I was like, oh, they haven't written a story for this because there is no narrative that is actually governing where these colors are put, why they will be put there, because the narrative behind Tau 34, which is a planet where this is all going to take place, the narrative behind it is that it was a colony, an exploratory colony. They wanted to create, I guess, a second home base for the human race. So that means that the maps and the places that you will be visiting were not designed as arena shooters. They were designed originally for people to live in, for people to make sense, for people to have communities, for children to be there. And when I look at the world, I'm like, there is nothing here that will accommodate children. Where is the playground? Where are the facilities where children will be kept and be able to play and go and learn and study? Where are the schools? The visual language of the world, while striking and aesthetically at least interesting, it's not consistent. There are doors that are highlighted in neon green, and I'm like, why would that be neon green? Why would you be like, hey, pay attention to this door? Like, what is it about this door that is so important? There are walls that are highlighted in the same color. There are beams that are black in one setting and then they are green in the next setting, and I'm just like, there's no visual continuity here. There's no rules. There's no rule set that you've come up with that informs the visual design. So what you end up with is this cacophony, of colors and things just plastered because they just wanted to make a certain environment look striking. It feels to me like the graphic designers, or I guess the visual arts team, just decided like, hey, how can we make this space look cool? And so they just added random splashes of colors that, like, okay, our colors are neon green, neon purple, neon red, and black and white. Just put them in any random order that you want, and then that will do it for this room. And then they go to the next room and they're like, okay, we want this one to look like this. And once again, there's no visual consistency there. Which brings me to the one thing that Concord had over this particular game. Concord had a strong narrative base. So when you look at Concord's art design, even though I wasn't a fan of it, it was at least consistent. It was believable that these spaces existed in this world. So you might be thinking, Emmanuel, this is a live service extraction shooter. Who the hell cares about the story? But first of all, they have hinted to a story. They have hinted to some kind of overarching narrative so that they said every season there's going to be seasonal storytelling. And I don't think that they have written a single piece of the narrative yet. They have this short, I think you're showing it, Podorok, on the screen. They have this short trailer that again hints to a story. But again, this is pretty much it. This is just like a filmmaker that they hired, and he just did his own interpretation of what it's going to be like. But again, there is nothing about it that is consistent. Go take a look at sci-fi worlds like Cyberpunk 2077. Okay, Cyberpunk's art and the world makes sense. Night City makes sense to its citizens. You know, it looks like a place that is built so that people can actually live in it. You know, so yeah, I did not think that they have put any consistency into the art design, and that is the biggest asset in terms of differentiating themselves on the market. And if you don't care enough about your biggest asset to make it consistent and to make it make sense, then I don't think that you cared enough about the other game systems to make those as great as they could be. That's just my read on it. But to be fair, it's a live service game. And again, as a person that was like, PlayStation needs to get better at multiplayer, I just want to say this. This isn't a PlayStation game. And if it was, they haven't gotten better yet. So yeah, for me, I was super disappointed by the entire thing.
Okay. All right. I'm not gonna make a comment about this because I promised Jay Barry that I would stop giving my opinions or predictions on live service games because he thinks I'm a jinx and I'm ruining all the fun for them. So I'm just staying out of it, right, and stuff, right. But I do agree. I will say one thing about J Dub, right, and I say this is, I think we even touched, this kind of touches on the conversations of showcases and showing games too early. I think the big deal right now, especially with social media and content creation, is the grift. You know, the oh, this game sucks. Everybody gather around. Is DI is woke, and that just attracts a lot of gamers. Like gamers want to hate on everything, um, to keep pushing, I guess, the formula of woke or DI or whatever. Now they're calling this game Concord 2. There's just a lot of it, right? Me personally, I would say um, the Bungie fan base, right? I would say what this game has an advantage over, let's say, Concord is the Bungie fan base, right? The Bungie fan base will give this game a try. All those Destiny players and the players that love playing Destiny, I think they're gonna give it a fair shot. I think the people who enjoy Destiny, who enjoy Bungie, who enjoy Halo and all that stuff, they're gonna give this game a shake. They're gonna get there. They're gonna play day one. There's a lot of Destiny specific content creators that will start playing this and whatever. So I see there will be enough, lots and lots of people. It's not like going to be Concord where there's going to be barely anyone giving it a chance. Therefore, no one, like the majority, truly didn't know about the good come play or whatever was the positive aspects, right? Most people moved on from it. But I think there's enough of a Bungie fan base to have a good initial start of people playing it. But then the question is, will they stay? Is the extraction formula going to be good for them to be like, you know what, I am enjoying this. I'm going to keep playing, right? But I do think Bungie's going to get a fair shot only because they already established a reputation with their name. Any other developer, this probably could have been a challenge for them, right? But with Bungie, I think people are just gonna give it a chance just on the name of, just like Naughty Dog with Intergalactic, right? People will buy that game. It's Naughty Dog. You're gonna buy it. It doesn't matter, right? And once you got it and play it, you're gonna decide based off what you actually play. And at that point, it's on the developer to have delivered a great game. If this is meant to be a great game, I think people will notice it. They'll play it. They'll give it a shot. And if it does end up great, they're gonna stay and play it. But I think Bungie has enough credibility and credential that a lot of people will give this a shot. Unlike Concord, where the development studio, they didn't have a name to themselves. So people had no problem ignoring it. They'd be like, yeah, this don't look for me. I'm just not going to even give this game a chance because there's no reason to. Unlike this game, this is a Bungie game. So people, I think even some of the haters who don't like this game, they're still going to give it a try. Why? Because it's Bungie. They got to know. They got to know for themselves, is it really bad? Is their perception good? So I think at a minimum, this game people will give it a shot because again, it's Bungie. Bungie has to deliver on a great game, ultimately, because people will give it a shot, and that's it. And of course, you're gonna have your few people that are playing it just so they can say they play it. They're gonna hate on it anyway, because I played Marathon. Oh my God, I lost my eyesight playing this. Some weird shit, right? That's part of the grift. But I think there's gonna be people.
We can talk about the positives, right? I think that the fact that they're charging money for it is a positive. I'm a big fan of having an upfront box price so that hopefully you do not get as targeted with the microtransactions, out the wazoo as you normally would, right? Or you otherwise would. I think that the gunplay looks good, I think that the sound design
That's one
is
thing.
excellent
Bungie always
for
have
at
good
least the
gunplay.
guns,
Yeah, gunplay.
exactly,
They always
yeah,
have good gunplay, so that's the thing.
I think that they have a strong, clear vision of what they want the experience to be, which was one of my issues with Concord. I was like, yeah, I don't think that your modes are aligned with the objectives that you want people to complete. So you had this weird dual identity where the game systems are really heavily team-based, but then the objectives are strangely individual. Whereas this one, it looks like all of your objectives, you're sharing resources, you have to move together in order to what is it? In order to actually go and complete your objectives, you have to move as a squad and everything like that. You can revive each other, I suppose. So I think that there's a good alignment between the system that they are putting and the game modes that they have shown us so far. So I don't think that it's all bad. And like you say, they already have the fan base, they already have the pedigree. They've been around for like what, nearly 20, 30 years now, on the console scene. So yeah, people are going to check it out. Like J-Dub, I think, said the alpha was already pretty much maxed out, right? I'm a bit ambivalent about how much time they're giving because I say that this is a closed alpha and there's only like 5 months until launch. So that's a bit of a question mark to me. I thought they should
Beta,
have done.
they tweeted out the beta is coming. The beta is coming in May. So yeah,
But
it was a
again, we
tweet.
are already in
I sent
April,
it to Porter.
and if
I
you have
posted
your
it in the DM
alpha,
or whatever.
I
if
think
you
it's
have
the
your
alpha. I think it's the
in
alpha. It's not a beta. It's an alpha
no, the alpha is
thing.
no, the
The
alpha
alpha
is
is
in April.
first. Yeah, that's in
Okay.
April, and then
Yeah.
followed by the beta. I posted
Oh.
in the DM.
I think
that
that's too
quick.
close.
Okay, that
Like you
quick.
only have a few weeks between the alpha
Yeah.
and the
The
beta.
beta.
I
Yeah.
think that they should have made this a next year game. I really do. Like, still come out with it this year, still have the alpha this year at the same time, but
Yeah.
just give yourself like a good 10 months to actually get the feedback and to, just, tune everything in, I listened to a few of the content creators that had the opportunity to play the game. They came up with mostly positive impressions. So that's already a good sign. That's a better thing than Concord did because Concord, the beta for it was like 2 weeks before it came out. So you really have, barely any time to change anything, But yeah, so I think
Well,
that the
I
alpha
think the debate. See, here's the thing: when they get to the alpha and the beta and at that stage, the base of the game is complete. The base of the game of what the game is going to be is already there.
Yeah.
They're just showing up to make sure that obviously they can add a little bit more graphical fidelity. They can kind of optimize it to do that stuff, but the basis of what you're gonna play is gonna be there. The games rarely
Yeah,
ever
but
change.
they can change like the what is it like if the balancing and everything like that to
Yes,
make
yes, yes. No,
another thing
absolutely.
that people said is that they didn't really have a good onboarding process. It was basically like a quick 5 minute tutorial, and then you're pretty much dumped in there, which is
Mhm.
fine for people that normally play this kind of genre. They will know kind of what you look for with inventory management and everything like that. But for people who are not used to it, it might be a bit of a a bit of a hill to climb. But the point is, look, it's better than Concord in that they actually have an alpha, beta. They actually have a few months in between, and they're able to do that. I just think that if they wanted to maximize player feedback, like they said that they want to build this with the community, I'm thinking, man, this would have been a great thing to announce in January. Like right at the start of the year, give yourself a full 9 months, a full pregnant pause before you're thinking about launching your game and get player feedback really intensively
It
in
would
there.
I don't want to cut you off, but I've been here and done that for so long. It doesn't matter when they launch the game. It doesn't matter what kind of game it is. People would have complained, but I've seen people saying, "Oh, the game is slow. They need to speed it up like Call of Duty." And it's like, and everything is based on another game. And it's like, guys, you don't want them to turn their game into the game that you play every day, right? If you
Mhm.
wanted them to turn it into COD, guess what? You're not gonna play Bungie's game. You're just gonna play COD.
Yeah.
You got to do something unique that's not COD. Do something unique that's not Fortnite, and let the chips fall where they may. But to say, oh yeah, I'm not going to play that game because it's not Fortnite or it's not COD, and it's like that's dumb. You have Fortnite, you have COD. That's why you play every day. That's where your home is. They're focusing on. They're trying something different, and I haven't played the game. I haven't even really seen their whole this game, the whole thing. I haven't even watched all of it. I've seen some of it, but I just know just based on the comments of what I've seen on Twitter and YouTube, what guys were saying, and I'm like, Jesus, we hadn't even laid a hand on this game, and people are already full blown like against it. I say, well, maybe that's that Sony stuff that's rubbing off on why they suddenly hate Bungie now. Yeah, Puerto Rock,
You're
uh,
muted. You're
go.
muted, sir.
I'm muted.
Hold on, you're
Sorry,
muted.
I'm
No.
muted. You got
Oh, Puerto
PlayStation tax? Is that what you're doing, J Dub?
Yeah,
You coming out
yeah,
here with that
the
PlayStation
Sony
tax?
tax, the Jim Ryan tax. Hey, I want to read
Oh
something because
man.
Ghost. I want to read
Oh
something because
man.
Ghost. Shout out to Ghost. He did. He paid the bill.
Yeah.
My brother Ghost. He said he put this on Twitter. He said you know what you never see? People who can't afford a Ferrari or Lamborghini complaining about cars they can't afford. I
That's
wish
true.
games cost $100 to $150 so
Oh
we could get
man.
all you frauds and
Oh
why
man.
them motherfuckers out of the community. Gaming used to be pure,
We need to
and this is the
make.
best part. He said gaming used to be pure when it wasn't accessible to everyone. Hey, he's spitting bars there.
Mm.
He's spitting bars.
Oh
It's
man.
true. When
Oh man. Oh man.
yeah, but
Make games
gaming,
less accessible, he says.
yeah, yeah.
Oh snap.
Oh, we got my man Blaze in the house.
He
Oh
finally
snap. We
put the
got
kids to
Blaze.
bed.
Oh man, I know Blaze. Yeah, you know why? He's another multiplayer guy. He's one of those Sony needs multiplayer. So
Yeah,
we're gonna have to put
yeah,
you on
he's with
court,
me.
my brother.
Yeah, yeah,
We're gonna have to,
he's with me, man. He
hey,
gonna hold the
hey,
line with me, Blaze.
hey,
You gonna hold the line with me,
Marathon.
Blaze?
How you feel about the reveal, Marathon, and how you feel about the community's reaction to Marathon?
They're hating.
Oh, so there we go.
Facts. I told you. Facts.
Bungie's never put out a bad product, but all of a sudden they're worried about what Bungie's about to put out. Like
Mhm.
Bungie's always put out quality product. You might not like Destiny or Halo, but those have always been quality, excellent multiplayers. And you know what I mean? Bro, it's just sad to see that. Like, listen, I'm one of them guys that jumped on the Concord hate train. I seen it, say, oh no, this shit looks awful. But this is Bungie, bro. This is like, bro, you can tell the shooting mechanics look tight. It's unique. You know me. The first thing I did say was like, damn, another one of these color palettes. It's a little, but
Yeah.
I trust Bungie. I trust them. I'm still with that Bungie shit, bro. I don't care what anybody says. I don't think Bungie's fell off. There's still 45,000 people playing Destiny 2 right now with nothing going on. Their game's been stagnant for a long time, but there's still 45,000 people playing it. So listen, I think people are you know, bro, people just love to just jump on a hate train and just hate on shit, bro. It's just, bro, it's not even a Bungie thing. It's just related to PlayStation, and all these idiots just want to hate on anything
tax.
PlayStation, bro. I fucking can't stand, bro. Like I said 2 years ago, I was making the move. I'm like, you know what? PC gaming is fire, bro. And I was like, my fan base was starting to see this. Like, damn, Blazer's kind of fucking with it. And then I just seen everybody just hating on PlayStation. And you know what it made me do?
Like after the move, like after the PC move, you started noticing. Okay.
I know, but I just, all these content creators hating on, bro. And I took a step back. I say, no. This is my core, bro. Fuck this PC shit. I'm fucking, listen, I love my PC. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day,
Sony, baby.
What gets me excited, bro? PlayStation, bro. What gets these people talking? PlayStation state of plays, whether they're fucking trash or great. People are always talking about it. It's like, you hate PlayStation, but all you fucking do is run your mouth about it. Porter, do you keep talking about shit you hate or shit that's whack or trash?
Well, I talk about Xbox.
You don't hate Xbox.
Man, I don't hate Xbox. I just reiterate that it turned to dog shit.
Man,
I just reiterating. I love the OG Xbox and the 360. Those were the they should have just needed to keep that going. Why did they stop? You know, I
Blaze,
know why,
what PC games or PC guys excited that's coming out? Because you never see that, right? You never see that. Oh yeah, I'm so excited about this new PC game you never see that.
You know what's funny about that, J-Dub? So Rev, he's like, I just bought Last of Us Part 2. I'm about to give it a go. 20 minutes later, right? he's on Twitter. He's like, yo, this shit runs like fucking trash. You know what I mean? Like, and bro,
it's a bad
these ports are coming out. God of War Ragnarok looks better on PlayStation 5. Like, bro, it's not even
Assassin's Creed, all of them. Yeah,
it's just not good optimization.
Yeah. It's bro, it's getting out of hand, bro. Bro, these dudes hating on PlayStation. Like, I just can't wait for Yo, listen, when these games start to drop, that's it. Like, this generation, listen, I've complained about this generation, but again, when the ball gets rolling, we're gonna see what the fuck happens, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even see this as a PlayStation game.
I know. I said that earlier, but it's the residue hate. It's the Sony hate because Sony bought them. Remember, before Sony bought them, all the Xbox guys was talking to Phil. Go ahead and pull that trigger and get Bungie back. It's a perfect time, right? They were all rah. Shout out to my brother Post Up. He was all about it. My shout out to my brother King David. They were all about Microsoft spending all that money in buying Bungie. And when Sony bought them, then all of a sudden, Destiny's trash.
They fell off. Yeah.
This shit is just crazy, man. And I think it's just amplified now that the console war is over. It's just people going to sit on the sideline and just hate for no reason. But I'm like,
I got the most played games on Steam. What the fuck is Schedule 1?
Well,
have no clue.
You know what Schedule 1 is? It's a drug dealer simulator.
Oh my god. Bro.
Yep. Sounds about right.
And this is Repo. Sixth most played game.
These
Repo
games
4090s for this. This is like y'all rocking the 4090s to brag about this?
See?
Bro, these games might be cool games, bro, but at the end of the day,
Bongo Cat.
I'm buying the best shit to play this shit, bro. I'm buying the best hardware to play games that are actually gonna move my hardware, like games that are gonna make my GPU sweat. And these games are not doing the top played PC games are not making your PC sweat. They're just not.
But most people that buy the high end GPUs and shit, they only do it to play fucking PlayStation ports and Call of Duty. They're like
wallpaper engine. What is this?
Yep.
Well, no hate on that one.
What is it though? What is wallpaper engine?
And wallpaper engine is like
animates your wallpaper.
Yeah, it's just a background. It's like a theme for your PC. Like it's just I can't explain it. It's cool.
My son has it for his stuff.
Oh my god.
It's not a game.
It's not a game. Yes.
It's not a game.
Man, y'all different, bro. VR.
He runs his anime backgrounds, animated anime backgrounds and stuff.
It's cool. It's cool. But yeah, look, like I said, bro. I don't hate people. I don't get why people gotta hate. Like, bro, I just can't stand it, bro. Yeah. I can't stand it. You see this sign?
What is this? Waifu. What are we doing?
PlayStation.
It's so beautiful, isn't it? Isn't it a
What is
beautiful
it?
sign?
Beautiful sign. Beautiful sign.
I love it. I love this song.
Oh
the hell is
man,
this?
he even give it a kiss.
What is this?
Beautiful
What is
sign.
this? Waifu. What the hell is this?
Listen, Porto, you
Waifu,
can't
you
go
know.
to PC line.
What is
Don't do that. Don't
go
look
to-
at what they do. Don't go
Go,
there.
hey, Porter, go
This is
look
a
at
PG show.
upcoming games. Look at new releases,
Yeah.
and they're
Banana.
all,
Simulator?
you know, no, they're
Real
all
world.
play with your PP simulator. Go look at the new
Yep.
releases with
New
PC.
releases?
Yeah, go look at them.
I see most played. I see top sellers. Or new
They
releases.
never talk about that. They never talk about that.
New what's it? New releases. I guess what's this? Top new releases of February 2025. I guess I don't know.
I don't know if you got the filter, the NFW filter, but I see it all. I'm like, damn, this is what people.
Oh
are
no. Never mind. Never mind.
Yeah,
Once you say
yeah,
not
yeah,
safe
yeah.
for work. Yeah, I'm not doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm not doing that. Yeah,
Yep.
yo. Let me do some super chats real quick. Shout out to Blue Jay. Blue Jay says, Extremes posing like Cartman playing WoW on PC, bro. Oh, that pose right now. The pose you have right now.
This right now?
That's like the Cartman PC pose in World of
I
Warcraft.
have no idea who
episode.
Carmen is.
Oh, what is it? What's that show called? Oh my God. Jesus Christ. The cartoon,
More
man.
adjustable, actually.
With Cartman. And they kill Kenny. Oh my God.
Oh, you talking about South Park?
Yeah, South Park. South Park.
Yeah.
So what
I
you
don't
do?
watch South Park.
So watch
Yeah.
South Park. Well, what is it? World of Warcraft episode. And you'll see. It's funny.
That's how you play.
That's it. And you'll see Carbon. He goes, bathroom. Yeah, that shit is funny. And shout out to Tommy Bull. He says, "Hey P Rock, you should show top played Steam games." I did. That's the reason why I looked it up, because of Tommy Bull.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, let me throw that, yo. Okay, all right. So let me ask you this. I'll ask this, Blaze, right? I personally feel that like pretty much you demonstrated, Bungie has that clout. So I think there's still gonna be a lot of gamers that's gonna go out and play this game just on the name of Bungie. You know, do you feel that the initial launch, gamers are gonna try it, regardless of all the shit talking? It is Bungie. They have that reputation, right? It really comes down to if Bungie actually delivers. That keeps the gamers on. Right now.
What people
What
are not understanding though, Porterac, though, is
though.
right. But
What's the feel of the pulse of the extraction genre? Because I'll be honest, more often than not, I don't hear a lot of good things in a big way about the genre of extraction. You have your hits there and there, but it just seems like right. You have your games here and there.
Helldivers.
You know. But for the most part, it just seems like the genre is like anytime everybody hears a new extraction shooter, their first reaction is like, oh, like really?
Right.
Like, what is it about that genre that got?
It's because of Destiny. I mean, I'm not Destiny, but it's because of the Division.
Dark Zone.
A lot of people feel like we've already did this for years. We want something different, but they don't, because they turn around and play the same games over and over.
Yeah, most games are like PvP,
Yeah.
multiplayer, team deathmatch. That's like the most common thing since the dawn of time.
That's why I'm so puzzled when people say stuff like that. It's like, why do you keep saying you don't like this, but when you look at the list of top played games, it's that. It's like, stop lying. You're lying on social media saying, "Oh, I don't want this." There's this other game in Blaze, you know it. This new game coming out called Arc Raiders. It kind of looks like Star Wars. It looks really cool. It looks fucking badass. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, this looks amazing." Guess what? It's an extraction shooter. People just don't have the same energy. If it's something that they like, they're gonna cap for it. If it's something that they hate, they're just gonna shit on it to all be damned. That's just the way it is.
That's the hot genre right now, actually, Porter.
Yeah.
I feel like extraction shooters.
Really?
Yes,
I feel like that's what's in right now, bro. 100%.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
But you know what? No one's on like
especially on PC.
On PC, it's huge.
Blaze. Me and Blaze be playing Gray Zone.
Gray Zone, another one, Fire.
And a bunch of other extraction shooters. So it's synonymous with you're ready or not, right? It's synonymous with PC. So I like these. That's why I said it's I can't lump everybody together. I think there's just a selective small group of people that just hate on shit. But they make the most noise, so maybe that's why it looks amplified like everybody. But every time I jump on Gray Zone or I jump on Tarkov or I jump on these games, everybody's having fun.
And
You look
enjoying
on
it.
Steam, it's highly rated on Steam.
Yep.
That's just where people are playing. I don't know, man. So it's just gaming is just not gaming, but just the gaming atmosphere is just in a weird space right now. It's hard to gauge. It's hard to tell what's the truth and what's
The
not.
algorithms, man, they just trend so much, and you're thinking, "Holy shit, is it really that bad?" Like,
When
I know what you
everybody
mean.
makes videos, right? With the face, you know how they do the funny face on the cover, right? The clips,
Like,
and they'll shit on something,
Oh my.
and then 2 days later they'll make another video
loving
hyping it up.
Oh
Yeah,
my
and I
God.
get it,
That is
right? I
funny.
get it. As a
The
content creator, I
algorithm,
get it.
bro. The
But that
algorithm, man.
it's
You can't beat
yeah.
the algorithm, man. You can't
Remember
beat it.
Assassin's Creed was supposed to be the next big failure because it was
Mm.
woke and it had all this controversy,
Mm.
and it turned around fucking and just did
Selling like
extremely well.
yeah.
Selling like
It's a-
hotcakes, the #2 game of the year. It's
yeah,
it's
after
did
3
what it
weeks.
needed to
It's the
do.
number 2 selling
So
game of the year after 3 weeks.
exactly. So I'm gonna be honest. You can't gauge what people say on the internet anymore. You just can't.
You can trust me, though.
Game,
You can trust me, though. You can trust me, though. You trust me.
hey, you're the only friends in the YouTube
yeah, I'm
streets,
the only.
Porter,
But to be fair, I'm staying out of this one. I'm not gonna give my opinion.
absolutely. Listen, listen. I ain't gonna lie, and I
I'm
agree
saying,
with you on
in
that.
fact, if anything, I'm saying, if you like it, I love it.
Yeah.
If you like
But
it, I love it.
I still. But notice though, I'm still keeping that same energy
Yeah.
with this type of game, just like I did Concord, because I still think that there's a place for these things, and I think you'll never get good if you don't try.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not going to attribute this game, Marathon to Sony or anything, but I will say if this game is extremely successful, just like Destiny was, I think a lot of people are going to be quiet, and then they'll go back into the okay, well, all right, that's just how it is. But it only takes one failure for people to just give up on everything, and I think we need to keep trying.
Okay. All right.
The fact, no, he's right about that though. You know what I mean? As soon as a dev, you remember CD Projekt Red, bro? They couldn't be touched, bro. They were gods.
Yep.
They
Until
fucked up with
2077.
Cyberpunk, and it was like, oh, we don't trust them. And you're like, bro, damn, bro, like, god damn. Listen, can I just say this about Marathon, bro? Like, people are underestimating the big Destiny content creators out there. The big hate, like the people, like, bro, these games are gonna get pushed right to the streamers.
Absolutely.
And those streamers are gonna stop playing this shit. And it's like, bro, if it's good gunplay, you can't lie about that. Listen, you might not like the art direction, how the characters look. It might not even be your type of game. Port Rock, you don't like multiplayer. Rev don't like multiplayer. But guess what? Bro, I'd be a fucking hypocrite to come up here and say, oh nah, I'm not looking forward to it, when all I'd be doing is clamoring for a good multiplayer game. You know what I mean? And like I said, bro, I just can't, bro. Like I said, they think they're calling this shit, Concord 2, Flopathon. They come, all these nicknames, all this bullshit. We'll see. Like I said, if you don't like the game, if you don't think it's for you, I'm not even mad at that. But the people that are just blatantly hating on it, that's a whole different story. I mean, I ain't got nothing to say to these clowns, bro.
Okay. All right. Tommy Bull says, thank you for the super chat. Says, most people complain don't play Extractions. That might be a good point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, speaking of
But
hate,
I mean, it is up to them to kind of show what is appealing about that, and they didn't do a great job.
I guess it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting, and it comes out September, so it's locked in. It's locked in. It's this year, All right.
They give a date.
September 23rd.
September the 8th, 23rd.
September 8th.
Okay.
Is it 23rd?
I thought it was the 8th, but I could be
wrong.
wrong.
It's September. I know that much. That I know.
Yeah.
The actual release date of the game is September. All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk the last topic. Let's talk Nintendo Switch. Right here. Speaking of hating things out of for no reason. Switch 2 fans can't stand seeing Nintendo's new console compared to the 12-year-old PlayStation 4. Switch 2 is clearly superior. Oh, this is hilarious. Switch 2 fans are becoming increasingly irate with Digital Foundry as the tech experts continue to compare Nintendo's new console to the PS4. We talked about how PlayStation has become a measuring stick for the incoming system, but fans are getting more and more agitated with the frequent references to Sony's 12-year-old machine. Late last week, the team pointed out that many of the third-party games running on Switch 2 so far perform similarly to their PS4 counterparts, and they use examples like Elden Ring and Yakuza 0 Director's Cut to argue its case. Adding balance, it stressed how impressive all of this is in a handheld format, and also added that Nintendo's new unit has many modern features that weren't present on the PS4, like DLSS.
Modern features.
Okay. But in the new hands-on with Cyberpunk 2077, the team has once again attracted criticism for comparing CD Projekt Red's sprawling sci-fi RPG to the ill-fated PS4 version. According to Digital Foundry, the performance of the older generation consoles improves with each passing year, one viewer sarcastically said. I'm looking forward to seeing how much the PS5 performance will have improved by the time the Switch 3 is released. Another ad, Switch 2's coverage has been very poor so far. What we're seeing on screen and what we're saying does not match at all. When you put Switch 2 games side by side with the PS4 version, it's very clear the Switch 2 version looks considerably better. Nothing has shown this is a PS4 class hardware. Responding to the backlash on forum Reset Era, Digital Foundry's Alex Battaglia said he's genuinely shocked people are somehow upset with the comparison to the PS4. He continued, we are talking about a max 30-ish watt ampere GPU on an outdated and more power-hungry process. It cannot be Series S level, let alone PS5 level in a good number of categories. Even if Ampere is a more forward-looking architecture than RDNA 1.52 of the PS5, there are just hardware wattage limits in play that are very important to its performance in spite of a nice feature set. Of course, Digital Foundry itself admits this is still early days and there's much more testing to be done. In the case of its Cyberpunk 2077 coverage, it points out that the demo includes areas from the Phantom Liberty expansion, which, of course, never released on PS4. But it seems like the comparisons to Sony last gen consoles aren't going to go away, and we suspect fan frustration is going to continue to bubble until the system is out. Now, to add some clarity to that, where is it?
Hopefully you got that Digital Foundry clip.
Okay, I got the clip, but I just want to show people here. This is from CD Projekt Red. It says, we're still improving the performance, but we're targeting 1080p docked and 720p in handheld mode with 30 to 40 FPS, depending on the mode, of course, performance versus quality. So 30 FPS for quality, 40 FPS for performance. So you get an extra 10 FPS if you click performance mode. So 1080p 40 for Cyberpunk 2077. That is wild. That is absolutely wild.
What
right?
fucking year are we in, Puerto Rico? What year is this?
Yo, you can't and listen, I set a low bar, right? I set a low bar. And I got this on the channel. I said just give me 1080p 60, and they can't even do that. 1080p 40, right?
In 2025.
Here's the clip that J-Dub is alluding to, right? I got it right here.
I knew you'd have it.
I got it. Let's listen to this.
It's kind of similar to last gen consoles, or what you would expect, I think, out of last gen consoles in this particular area in terms of its overall kind of visual look in still frames there. You got screen space reflections, you got good draw distance, acceptable shadow map quality, the car headlamps on the player car, their shadow casting, quite nice there.
Yeah.
And that's all stuff that's like not really exceptional, but it's stuff you'd never see on Switch 1, really, especially in combination there. You're getting all those features that looks, suitably last gen testing here. When you go down that Dogtown strip in a car at fast speeds or on a motorcycle at fast speeds, performance can tank pretty hard. It looks like it's getting well below 30 FPS in those instances.
Oh, Lord.
And then in big firefights, it can be kind of a bit of a problem there as well. But
yes,
yeah, it does seem to be kind of a mixed outcome here, where I think on the visual side, we're getting some nice looking graphics that are, in that PS4-ish ballpark.
Yes, I couldn't really tell the difference between quality and performance, and there were performance issues. Yes, it seems to be that the game is both CPU and GPU limited, I would say, because when there's a lot of entities in firefights and when you're traveling at speed across the environment there, you are seeing performance drops, which is indicative of kind of what we saw almost on PlayStation 4 in a way, and Xbox One consoles. So I think there's work to be done there.
It's kind of
now I'm gonna say this. To be fair, it's a handheld, right? It's a handheld, right? And we could just leave it at that. But no, we can't because we got people like Nintendo God. This is the reason why this is happening.
Yep.
This is him. This is Nintendo God. This explains Nintendo Switch 2 hate fear of this system. 2025 Switch Edition Enhanced Metroid Prime 4. 2025 Premium AAA Xbox Series PS5 game marathon. Give Nintendo the same power as the Xbox Series PS5 console, and their games will embarrass the competition, right? It's because of shit like this.
Then what doesn't he tell Nintendo to go make that console? Like the fuck?
Exactly.
Did we stop Nintendo from making a PS5 level console? No. Go tell Nintendo that's what you want. Like the fuck?
This is why it's happening. They keep comparing the Switch 2 to the PS5. Hell, now
like
the
they
PS5
want to be
Pro.
so badly part of.
Stop.
Yeah. They want to be so badly part of the performance conversations. Like, shut the fuck up. You have a handheld, first of all. Like, the fact that they are even brushing the PlayStation 4 level performance, that's already a miracle. Like, that's actually already freaking great. I said it on record before. I said that the PlayStation 4 is the home of freaking Uncharted 4. It's the home of Horizon Zero
God of
Dawn.
War.
You know, it's the home of God of War. It's the home of Spider-Man. If you can get anything near that level of performance
on a handheld, you good.
You should be like freaking great. Like, Jesus Christ. You know? But the thing is, they just can't live well enough alone. Like, bro. And if you want Nintendo to go make you a powerful thing that you want to compete with the current gen consoles, either tell them, hey, make us a Pro dock or give us a way to attach another GPU more powerful to our system,
like an external GPU.
Make us a genuine like home console, you know, so that I have the option that, hey, the same game that I play on the Switch, I can also put the same cartridge in my home console, but that thing has all of the power that I want. You know, like tell Nintendo what you want, but don't be trying to gaslight us into thinking that this thing is as performant as our thing. You know, like this is exactly what happened when Craig wanted to talk about the PlayStation 5 Pro being as powerful as a freaking 5090.
Yeah.
And we have to be like, whoa, like, hey, listen, calm down. Like, we everybody has their place, everybody has their lane, you know? Yeah, go ahead.
Look at this.
Nintendo God's a fucking idiot. Bro, he's like, oh, give us the power of play. You got a PS4, make Uncharted 4, make Horizon Zero Dawn, make Last of Us. You got all the power, make it. You're not gonna make that type of game. That's the difference. Fuck out of here.
That's exactly right, please.
Look at the Switch games right here. This is Switch 2. Look at this. You're telling me these two games compared to this? Come on, bro.
Come on. You got a PS4. Make those games. How hard, bro? They brought up Digital Foundry. Literally just brought up screen space reflection. Something that's been like, dog. I like this is like giving me a fucking headache, bro.
This image right here is my image. This is from my game. I took the share screenshot.
Yeah.
When I saw that, this is mine. This isn't like from another gaming mag. This is literally my game for my gameplay. And I was like, wait a minute, look at the ray tracing and reflection off his helmet. Oh, I gotta take a picture of this. And I took a picture. Look at this shit. You're telling me the Switch 2? You're out your mind, but look at this shit. Come on, listen, man. Switch 2 as a handheld, being able, you know, if Switch 2 can pull off The Last of Us remaster or The Last of Us 2, if Switch 2 is capable of just PlayStation 4 version of The Last of Us 2 on a handheld, monumental achievement. Monumental. If you can pull God of War 2018 on the Switch 2, monumental achievement. Achievement. It's Ghost of if you could do Ghost of Tsushima.
This is
on the Switch 2. Yeah. PlayStation 4, Ghost of Tsushima. On the Switch, oh my God. Monumental achievement. Work on that.
That's
Reach
exact-
that. Reach
That's
that
exactly
bar.
that's exactly what I've been saying. Like the
Reach that
PlayStation
bar.
4 is no slouch. If
Mhm.
Sony came up with a PlayStation 4 level hardware that was actually native and could let you play like freaking Horizon Zero Dawn, The Last of Us Part 2, all the PlayStation 4 editions, people will buy that shit like nobody's business because that's a good standard to be at. Like, why is it that man, just stay in your lane. Just stay in your lane. Don't be trying to make it more than what it is.
I will say this. I blame nobody but Nintendo. Nintendo themselves. Nintendo stayed out of the PlayStation and Xbox lane for a long time. And now they tiptoe, they put their pinky toe into PlayStation and Xbox's lane, and now people are going to start judging them
They
based
half-assed it.
on that.
Mhm.
They came out talking about 1080p 120 and 4K 60 and shit like that. Whereas before, Nintendo never really cared. They just like, hey, we make good games that people like. Here it is. We're not going to tell you the specs. We're not going to tell you X, Y, and Z. We don't care. Now, 2025, they start advertising on the box. Oh, we have HDR now, right? Finally, Sony patched that shit in back in 2015, right? They patched that shit to the PS4 back then, but we got VRR. We got okay, cool, all right. And then the kicker, now you're gonna price it the same, if not more, than a PlayStation 5. Okay, now let's put the stat sheet together and see who's really the big dog. Nintendo should have stayed in this lane, and its fanboys, shouldn't have got all hyped up
No.
over what that shit can do. Let's face it. Anytime you're taking a handheld or something that runs by fucking batteries,
It's
you
not going to
will
push that power.
you will always be limited. Right? You can't take something that you plug into a wall that's getting consistent power. You're never going to be able to have that TDP. And you should judge it based on that. But Nintendo did it, and their fanboys, their groveling fanboys, ran it. They took the bait, and now guess what? I'm going to compare their console to the Series S and the fucking PS4. and they better be careful, because I may judge it based on the PS5. I may say,
shit.
where's my ray tracing? You know what I'm
man.
saying? Where is my the DualSense haptic feedback? Don't give me the rumble shit,
They
whatever
made the
it is they
shoulders all
have.
digital, so that's out the
You know what I'm
window.
saying?
The shoulders and
Exactly.
triggers are back to all digital.
And they got
Exactly.
HD
Don't even have
Rumble,
analog
Jay,
no
though.
more.
HD Rumble, baby.
Shout out to Robert Oliver. He said it: 10 watts versus 200 watts. That's true.
Yeah.
These, like, you can't. That's why you should never do it. And to think you'll never be able to get that type of power, such a slim package. Not enough time. Technology hasn't moved forward where you can shrink the die just so small where you be able to get that same performance. Now, just because you get some of the features, they may be able to, some kind of way, right, enable ray tracing. They may be able to do some stuff, but let's see what that ray tracing enable inside of an actual game look like, right? All we saw now so far is fucking cartoony games, right? We saw Mario Kart, we saw Metroid, right? And
Metroid looks good. Metroid looks good.
Listen. I'm not knocking the games, right? I'm pretty sure they're gonna be great games.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking the games, but I'm trying to prove a point. And the point is, yes, you can do 4K and probably 60 in those games, right? Because look what type of games they are. They're not really graphically demanding games. But as soon as you dump Cyberpunk on that shit dropped down. Now you're looking at 720p, 25 frames a second.
It's like up-resing a PS3 game.
That's 4K. What I'm saying.
That's all it is.
And listen, all I'm doing
the
is
assets
using that.
So the graphical fidelity, like there's no huge jump in graphical fidelity.
Listen,
brother, they gave him credit for screen space reflections. Are you guys not listening to what the fucking like? Are you guys serious?
I would expect Kirby. I would expect fucking Kirby to do 4K 60, right? Like my iPhone could probably do 4K 60 in Kirby. So I would expect that. but remove Nintendo's IPs out of there, and that's when your real performance. That's when the real limitations. And that's why you got your Cyberpunks. You got some of the other games that they showed off, and really the games they showed off didn't really. They didn't really push home. I didn't see any ray tracing. Digital Foundry said there was no DLSS. There was none of the stuff that was advertised. That
it didn't move the needle.
Exactly.
Yoshida, in the interview,
even Yoshida said he was underwhelmed.
Yeah, he was underwhelmed because he said like some of the games, if you own another console or played on another product, like again the Cyberpunk, Elden Rings, he's like you play better versions of that already. So it's like, and he says unless you didn't own any other platform and the only thing you do play on is on Switch, then okay, it might be impressive to you because you didn't play those games on another platform. So for only going from Switch 1 to Switch 2 and that's your only transition, then it might be impressive to you. But if you play those games on another platform, you're gonna be like, this ain't it. This ain't
Portrock. My thing with Nintendo is they do make good games, quality games. They come out, they work. My problem is growing up as a child, as a kid, and playing these Nintendo games, and then fast forwarding 20 fucking years, and we're still playing the same Nintendo games. That's the fucking problem, bro. When I look at a lot of these cartoony games, we say I'm looking for the fidelity of a Ratchet and Clank. That evolution is not there to me. It's just not there. That's the difference, bro. I'm not saying that Nintendo has great games. Everybody knows they make good games. You know what I mean? But like they take some steps. You see 4K, 120 hertz shit that you're not used to seeing for Nintendo. Again, they don't have fucking achievements, bro. How do you not have achievement? Listen, again, I said this on Solid. I'm not asking for nothing that's not the standard industry. Like whatever standard in the industry, bro. The Epic launcher got achievements. Blizzard launcher got achievements. Ubisoft launcher got I'm just asking for something that's just. Let me go to a profile. Let me click M's name. Oh, he's playing Mario Kart. Let me send him a message. Like, bro, you got a voice chat. Guess what? I'm not joining your voice chat because as soon as I say one bad word, I'm gonna lose my account.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I'm not moved by your camera with that looks like a plant. Like, I don't care, bro.
Yeah. It's just that's just. Listen,
man,
and listen.
All I'm getting is unnecessary hate, man. Do you guys even play games anymore? I'm just sensing a lot of animosity among y'all.
Yo, listen, Nintendo guys, you better get used to it because this is gonna be this generation for you.
Listen, I'm telling the Nintendo guys, stop comparing it to the. You're fine. Just leave the PS5 alone. Don't do this. Don't talk about the PS5. Don't compare to the PS5 because if you do it, you asking for it. And you're gonna get a big backlash. Do not, and it's crazy because like if you're a Nintendo content creator, you have to know Nintendo doesn't do power no more. That's not their thing. Ever since they released the Wii, they said to themselves, "We are done trying to keep up with the Joneses. We're done trying to match competitors. We're out of that. We do our own thing with our own time, with our own art style, with our own level of graphics, and whatever we feel is the right level of our games. That's it." They haven't tried to compete with the industry since the Wii. I don't know why guys think that, Shigeru Miyamoto and all them are thinking, oh, now's the time to go after the PS5. No, they're not thinking that at all. They're not. That absolutely not even trying. Are they trying to get a little bit more third party because they see, that 30% change is good? Sure. But they're not going balls to the walls, give you the ray tracing, and they're not doing that. They're doing their stuff on their own terms, and just like normal, if you can make the game for Switch, make it. If you can't, oh well, they're not missing you.
But if you got a power of a PlayStation 4, if you got a power of a PlayStation, I've still not a single person, not a single developer in this industry with the power of the PS4, what Naughty Dog did with Uncharted, with facial animations. I'm talking about shit, just simple, Uncharted 4 still, when I look at facial animations, all that shit, it's still unmatched, bro. I'm not even, I
agree.
You want, if you want to call
it
Horizon
Zero Dawn, even Horizon Zero Dawn on the PS4 is an achievement.
Yeah.
That's even an achievement.
It's more of an achievement because it's an open world. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's $60.
They don't have voice acting. They're not going
they
to
still don't have voice acting. They're not going to give voice acting. You're not getting that. You're not getting
more. No, I love it. I go up to Port Rock and he just beep, 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 bubble. Bro,
You're just gonna have Zelda go. You're gonna have Link go. Ha 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 ha. Like that's
bro,
it.
look at the budget that, bro. The other problem is like the budget they're working with. That doesn't justify, like, when I
And it's
see 300 million
$80.
spent. Bro, when I see 300 million spent on Spider-Man, I'm like, you know what? Shit, I understand you guys raising that price a little bit. But when I see, bro, and that's Nintendo's making so much fucking profit. It's fucking
Man.
crazy, bro.
I mean,
They're
more
crazy.
power to them. Listen, more power to them. I hope they start selling games at $100. Go for it.
Yeah.
You know, they say
100%.
it's valuable. They said that, you know, Nintendo's first party is absolutely valuable. Shit, sell it for 100. Go balls to the walls. You know, sell it for 100. You know, oh man, that's crazy. All right. I think Extreme. You have any thoughts on
the whole
graphics?
Nintendo Switch 2 performance?
Yeah.
Listen, I think it's not a joke. I've been saying for the longest that I'm not against $80 games. I'm against $80 Nintendo games. I'm a hater.
I'm the same way.
I've been a hater of Nintendo games for the
He
longest.
said,
You know?
oh.
Listen. I played Breath of the Wild. I put my 150 hours in it. I even did the DLC. I did it all. Okay, that shit is worth $40. That's what
No,
it's
it's
worth.
90 on the Switch too.
No, I know it is. I know it is.
Yeah.
That shit is worth $40. That's what it's worth. You know, as a person that thoroughly enjoyed Breath of the Wild, I did it, the dragons, the everything that you could do. I maxed it out. I can't show any of it because, like Blaze said, there's no achievement system. You know, there's nothing for me to prove. You know, but no, I got it all. I got all the Master Sword. I did the Champions Trials, all of it. That shit is worth $40. Stop. Okay, 30 is a decent deal. Okay, nah, they're not built the same. They are not built the same. You look at the games and they look like what RuneScape used to be. You know what Nintendo Switch original games look like? They look like the games we used to run off of Java. You guys remember Java, like
Of
web-based
course.
games?
Mini
You know,
clip.
that's- Exactly. That's what they look like. That's the graphical fidelity. Like I look at even the Switch 2 edition games. I'm like, this looks like RuneScape nowadays. If you guys ever played RuneScape
Of
or
course.
World of Warcraft, then you
Yeah.
know the kind of graphical fidelity you can expect. And those are MMORPGs. They have to look that way because the map is like fucking gigantic, you know, like that and they are usually restricted to like fucking browsers or something like that, right? That's
Yeah.
what Nintendo Switch games look like. I'm sorry, they have no business even being $60. 80, 80, 80, $80. And I'm sorry, listen. I know people want to go like, oh, it doesn't have the same power. Listen, I have played many indie games that run on the Switch that look better than the Switch games from Nintendo. Indie games do it. So if you don't like, oh, you don't want to compete with the budgets of like a Spider-Man, I agree with you. It shouldn't even be in the same conversation. But even indie games themselves that have like a team of like 6 people. I take a look at Expedition 33, right? That is an indie game. You know, that shit is probably going to be on the Switch too. And it's going to run and look and feel better than a lot of Switch games. People look at the Pokemon series. I don't know how this game sells. You know, I don't even know why people love that slave simulator. But any case, I don't understand how Pokemon can release year after year, edition after edition, sell you 2 copies of the game, right? Because let's face it, Pokemon is just one game they split into 2 parts to sell to you twice. That's literally it. It is one of the longest running scams in gaming, and we don't talk about it because it's Nintendo. Could you imagine if PlayStation did that? Like if The Last of Us Part 2 had been split into both halves, you had like the early edition, and then you had the freaking what was the name again? The one that people hate, the Joe Killer. What's her name again? That girl, Abby. If they had like, oh yeah, The Last of Us Part 2, Abby and Ellie, and you had to buy both versions to get the complete
They don't keep
story.
the same energy, Em. They don't.
Yo,
They just don't.
listen, that would be crazy. Crazy. The fact that they can sell you, oh, Pokemon Silver and Diamond, oh, Pokemon Red and Gold, oh, Pokemon, you know, Sword and Shield. I'm
Like
just
Sapphire
yo.
and Ruby or some shit.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Pokemon Carbon Fiber and Ferrari. You know,
Oh,
like
wow.
yo.
This guy is stupid. Oh my god.
That is such a scam. and that is $120 for one game, and they get away with it. So yeah, they should charge $100 because they already do. Like, why not? Why not? Can you believe I laughed? I genuinely laughed to myself in a state of both derision and sheer sadness when I found out that the Switch edition of the game for like Breath of the Wild doesn't include the DLC. That's insane.
Yep.
What other company can get away with that?
Mm.
Could you imagine if like freaking what is it? The Last of Us Part 1 hadn't include Left Behind. Like if Sony was like, yeah, you got to pay for the Left Behind DLC again. That is insane. You know? Or if like what is it, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut didn't come with Iki's Island. Or if Death Stranding Director's Cut didn't include the DLC. There is no other game company that does this, where they re-release a very old title, but they don't even include the DLC as part of the package. That is incredible. That is incredible. So you know what? I support you, Nintendo. I do. I'm a big fan of what it is that they are doing. I'm a big fan of the console. I hope that every Nintendo fan gets everything that they pay for, you know, and exactly what they pay for. And yeah, I hope that by the time this thing comes out, it's like $650. Because why not? You're gonna pay for it anyway. You know, 20-year-old games that have never improved in all of this time. But hey, you know what? It's Nintendo, you know, so we don't talk about it.
You imagine paying $650 for 12-year-old hardware? That's fucking crazy. I couldn't.
Well, listen,
me.
Listen, man. That's exactly what people are gonna do, man.
Yeah, they're okay with it. It's crazy.
And you know, people think that we're hating. Guess what? I guarantee you, at one point, if it's not day one, I'm gonna have a Switch 2 in my household. I have kids that like Nintendo. Like I'm gonna have this, bro. I have a stack of Nintendo Switch games. I got Switch lights above me. Like I support this shit. I support like games and consoles and shit. But this type of shit, like, it's getting out of control, bro. No one ever calls fucking Nintendo out, bro. They always seem to get a fucking pass, bro. It's crazy.
Blaze, Nintendo just came. The CEO the guy just came out and told him, you know, if the Switch 2 is too expensive for you, we got a console for you. It's called the Switch 1. You know what I'm saying? He pulled a Johnny
and the dudes defended it online.
Yes.
Like, yeah, well, you gotta understand the context. I'm like, what's the context? The context is he's literally saying, if you can't buy the Switch 2, buy the Switch 1. And the people I talk to like, yeah, well, it makes sense. I'm like, bro, who do you think are looking at the Switch 2? It's the people that have the Switch 1. You think the people who did not buy the Switch 1 for the last 8 years, they're just all of a sudden interested in Switch 2 without buying the Switch 1 over the course of 8 years. It's not that audience. The audience that's interested in Switch 2 already have the Switch 1. That's who you're talking to. You're not talking to the person that never bought a Switch 1. Why would they give a shit about the Switch 2 if they never bought the Switch 1 in an 8-year period? Like,
what's that game that they're charging money for? What's that game they're charging money for? The
demo, the tech demo. Yeah.
PlayStation gives you what's it called, Playroom, for free.
Yeah, the
Astro's Playroom. Yep.
You see the difference, bro? It's all good.
That shit is crazy.
And
they
that's
give a whole instruction.
Even Yoshida said Nintendo's lost their way. Like he's like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yo, it's gonna be crazy. This next 5 years is gonna be wild. All right, but hey, I want to touch on one last thing just to get your guys' opinion. Apparently, Oblivion Remastered might release next week. It's been leaked. Detective Seeds, he's been saying this for the last 3 weeks that is happening, and now it looks like it's actually happening. So shout out to Detective Seeds. I'm gonna try to I tried to get him on last week, but things whatever. But we'll get him on the show soon. But if it does drop next week, are you guys interested in playing it? Buying it? I know it might be day one on Game Pass, obviously because it's Microsoft. What are your thoughts? We'll do a quick. We'll start with Blaze. Oblivion Remastered, an original game from 2006. Now, like this, I don't mind. A game from 2006 from the PS3 era, whatever. But what do you think, Blaze? Oblivion Remastered.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. It deserves a remaster. I don't got no problem with that. You know what I mean? If it's priced reasonably, you know what I mean? I got no problem with it.
$90. I'm lying.
Look, Oblivion's a classic. Oblivion got to get a little bit of credit because it sparked so many other games. It literally, a lot of games took from it. But I got no problem playing it. I'm not like over the hill for it, but I'll definitely check it out for sure.
Okay, all right. Extreme.
Yo, I am a Bethesda hater. I hate every Bethesda game, so I want to just get
I'm
that
mad
out
at
of the
you.
way. Secondly, I want to say I will support every remake and remasters. And while
Yeah,
I
you
may
do.
personally hate this, I support this
you do support it.
1000%.
In fact, they need to remake this remaster.
They need to remake these remasters immediately. As soon as they come out, they need to get started on the
He
remake.
is the remaster guy, right? Yeah, he is.
He
Yeah.
loves
100%.
remakes and remasters. He
I'm
says
with you, I'm with
if
you.
you could remaster The Godfather over and over and over, then you could remaster
Listen.
any game. He says it's the same thing.
Listen,
So I give him
like
the
even
consistency.
even Porto, you posted on Twitter the other day, how many times are they going to repackage the Last of Us collection?
Oh yeah.
And I
did
put
say
it to
that.
you, the Harry Potter list of how many times they did the cover. They
He
had
did.
21 different editions of Harry Potter where the cover changes and nothing else inside changes. So
That's
if
crazy.
books are allowed to do it, games are allowed to do it too. Listen,
Em, real quick, Em,
Yo.
just to stop you, let's not forget Skyrim got released fucking
a
37
million
times.
times
Okay.
to death, a million times. So you know what? Every remake, every remasters, I will always stand behind. So why this is not personally for me, I don't care for Oblivion. It can fall into Oblivion for all I care. I am very proud, okay, that this remake and remaster is coming. And you know what? They should do Skyrim again. Okay, make a Skyrim remake.
Remake
do it
of
again.
the remaster.
Just do it again.
Just
Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout 3,
Do it.
even Fallout 4. You know, matter of fact, create the
remake
next Elder
Starfield.
Scrolls and start making the remaster as soon as you're done with it.
Remaster Starfield.
Remaster Starfield,
no,
make
no.
it good this time. You know, like go ahead. You know, you can improve a few things. You know.
Oh,
So listen,
Extreme is wild, bro. He says
you will never find me be inconsistent. Every remake and every remaster is something that our industry deserves to have, just like every other medium gets to enjoy. Like you watch Friends. Do you think that the Friends that you stream is the same quality as the Friends that was
they
originally
improve it.
streamed on TV?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Now you're getting it at a 4K. How they get you 4K?
They
By
remastered.
re-releasing every step along the way. You best believe that Friends is gonna be at 256K. You better know. You better
It'll be
know.
there forever. Get used to 8K,
Yo.
16K, 32K. It's coming.
Do you know that every single Friends actor, the main cast, are still being paid $20 million a year from reruns?
Really?
They still earn to this day. Each one of them earns $20 million every year just from the reruns. So yeah. And you know what? When you remake a remaster, you know what? Give Troy Baker and all of the main cast their money too. Like, yeah, look it up. Yeah, that shit's phenomenal, isn't it? Yeah,
They're
that's what
not
other
doing
industries get to
anything,
do.
and they're getting 20 million.
Hordak, rerun your show. Rerun 60 frames no lag.
I'm a remaster.
Exactly.
You know what? I'm a remaster all my old
Remaster it.
episodes.
That's it.
I'm a
Hey,
remaster. I'm
listen.
a remaster my video of when I got disappointed with Scalebound canceled. I'm a
Listen.
redo it in 4K. You get to see my
Hold on.
meltdown.
We are remastering this episode as soon as we're done. We're just running it back to back.
I gotta say, I'm a remaster my 250K Hellblade 1 bad sales. All right, hey, Jada, what about you? What do you think about Oblivion remastered?
Who's asking for this?
Oh,
Who's asking for this,
me,
y'all?
everybody.
Who's asking for this? Aren't we tired of
Who's this for?
remasters?
Okay.
Oh
this
yeah,
for?
who's this for?
Ah,
No,
man,
that's
you
the
know,
right response. That's the
why
right
didn't
response,
they-
though, low key.
Why didn't they remake it instead of remastering
I
it?
sent
Yeah.
the
You know?
email. I sent the email to Bethesda. You know, stop
Yeah.
this bullshit. Give me my.
Hey, this better not cost more than $10. If you
Yeah,
own
exactly.
the old original version, you better
Yep.
be able to upgrade for $10
Can I-
or for free.
Yeah.
Hey, I own the
Fancy
Oblivion.
consumer.
I own the Oblivion disc. Can I upgrade it for $10?
Exactly.
Yeah. Can I
Can you
pop
put
in
it
my
to your PlayStation?
PS3
Can you put it to
version
your PlayStation?
into my PS5 Pro? It upgrade.
Exactly.
If not, that's
That's fair,
anti-consumer.
That's fair. That's exactly
Just
what they
saying.
say. Facts.
They say
Yeah.
they say the same thing, so that same energy is not, and it is what it is. I
Hey,
don't
listen,
care.
guys.
I can't.
Well,
even
I
hold you.
know.
I can't even hold you to the. You know,
No.
I can't even stop you. Like you.
I know.
you're
Hey,
right.
listen. I changed my mind. I want to play Oblivion. If I go to Steam and I buy the old version for $1.49, I want to be able to upgrade for $10. That's
Yeah.
what I want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
But for real, I don't care for it. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna play it, but I'm glad it's available for other people. For those who are interested, salute to them. I'm glad that they'll get to play it.
All right, thank you.
See how easy that was, right? Something I'm not interested in, but I'm not upset that other people get to play it. You know what I'm saying? It was that easy.
Doesn't affect you at all. That remaster.
Absolutely, absolutely.
As a single player primary gamer, I appreciate that. You are mature. You are the bigger man. You know, you set a good example. And with that, man, fuck multiplayer. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I ain't being big as shit. I hope it all burns. I don't give a fuck. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thought I was gonna be the bigger man. Fuck that. Nah. I'm just playing. Y'all thought y'all had me. You thought, you know what? J-Duck came in with the olive branch. I came with a playthrough.
I low-key thought he was serious at first. Like, wait, what the fuck?
Like, oh shit, man, he changed Puerto Rock stripes. He's gonna come in with the olive branch. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Blue Jay with the super chat. He says Chappelle said, "I want to wear Jordans, not make them." Oh man, about the whole factories and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, no one's crying about making Jordans. We just want to buy them. Oh, shit. John Baptiste with the $10 super chat. John Baptiste says, watching Xbox fanboys buying 5090 for $2,500, but claim the PS5 Pro isn't worth $700 when it's an entire console. Good luck on spending that much, but still won't be able to play GTA 6 this year.
He's talking about gas. Confirmed.
Yo, we all know. We all. You didn't have to say the name. Everyone knew. Everyone knew, bro. Everyone knew, man. Guys, you should have just bought a PlayStation Pro, man. Come on, you a console dude. Stop it. Oh man, but shout out to guys, right? Shout out Trucknet with the $2 super chat. What happened to PS Remastered Music Concert Tour? If it's a joke, I don't get it.
I think they.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think it was going to do some around the world. Yeah, they were going to do it was a thing. Some concerts.
They had some shit where like we're gonna like play all the theme musics and shit, right? Yeah. When I saw that, I'm like, these motherfuckers are crazy.
Yeah.
Do they know Spotify exists?
Like, what the hell are they thinking? Like, they think they Bad Bunny or some shit? What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah. Put out some soundtracks and be done.
The soundtrack music tour. Would you go to that? Would you wear a tuxedo? Like if it was an opera there, J-Dub?
Only if Flute Man was there. I would pay to go see Flute Man. He be lit. And he embraced the name Flute Man too. So
J-Dub paid for the ticket, we'll go.
Yeah, I would like to go see him, shake his hand.
If Flute Man is there, he's there day one.
Oh, he be rocking anything he in.
Shit.
Hey, if they do God of War with the orchestra, I would go to that.
Oh shit, man. Boy, if I took my wife, I'd be like, hey, we're gonna go to a concert, honey. She's like, all right. And she sees his PlayStation games, she will be so goddamn mad. She'll be like, you brought me to this bullshit. Yo.
Divorced.
She'll be like, we getting the fuck out of here, bro. You better take me to a fucking Bad Bunny concert, not to this bullshit. Oh, snap. Anyway, man. Hey, great podcast. We're going to cut it short, right? I mean, not cut it short, but we're going to finish it off. We'll start with Blaze. What's going on, my brother? Give you out.
I'm chilling, bro. I'm chilling, bro. Glad to be here. Thank you for always letting me pull up. And shout out to the chat. Shout out to M and J-Dub. You already fucking know. Love y'all. Have a great night.
Okay. And we got Extreme.
Yo, people, go to my channel. You can see me talk a lot about this book and why I think it's relevant in marathons conversation and nerdy things like that. It's going to be very, very annoying 90 minutes, but you can love it. Okay.
They said PlayStation guys don't read. That's why we're making fun of the Nintendo games.
Laugh my ass off, read books. This guy expects us to read books.
I feel like PlayStation guys are the biggest readers.
We got games to play. Listen, we play games and watch porn. All right, that's it. And we do taxes on the console.
Number one Pornhub, baby.
That's it. Pornhub, games, and taxes.
10 years in a row.
Yeah, we learned we could do taxes on the console too.
Thrash.
So that's all we do. Thrash showed us we can do our taxes right on the console.
Listen,
so that's what we do. We're doing our taxes.
From the rest of the world, we read. So there we go.
Yeah, we too busy
that might be
buying
a North
games.
American thing.
Yeah, we consume games. We ain't got time for books. All right, J Dub.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, great show. Always great. Being around chatting up with you fellas, and you guys know where to find me, man. I know the console war is over, man, so I got to turn over a new leash. You know what I'm saying? But listen, before I get out of here, before I retire, I'm gonna kick Nintendo's back in. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
shit. We might have to finish them off, right? Before.
Facts.
All right,
The
and
Great Console War of 2025. That's what we're gonna call it.
we got the
I like
leftovers.
it.
We got to deal with the leftovers. Hey, just one announcement. So my Friday Night Live will be moved to Saturday because this Friday is Good Friday. So I won't be able to host the show at that time, the normal scheduled time. But it'll be going on Saturday. Time to be determined because the guest I will have is Zubitech. So Zubitech will be my next guest for the Saturday live, I guess, right? Time to be determined. We're working that out. So no live this Friday because it's Good Friday, but the makeup will be Saturday and special guest Zubi Tech. So stand by for that. I'll have the specific times later on this week for you guys to enjoy and stuff like that. So that's the news announcement, all right? So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a great show with Zubi. And with that, hey, your only friend, these YouTube Streets, Porter Rock 77. Thank you for checking out episode 322 of the 60 Frames No Lag podcast. If you're new to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe, share this out, and we're going to see you this Saturday with the live, and then, of course, next week with another episode. You guys take care. Have a good one. Peace.